What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the wheel route. Trying to jump in a pug, waiting for two for that. And while we're waiting, I will do some slow drafts. Actually, I'm just going to pop out this draft board so I can flip to it quickly when I need to. I always forget to do that. All right. Couple slows to start. Waiting for two in the pug. Pug might take a little while to fill, just because it is max 3 entry. Actually, I could, and I'm going to try to. Yeah, actually, I only need two more. Two more to fill the pug. I'm gonna flip that back to my channel. All right, sorry about that, kids. Still waiting on two more for the pug, and I will go to my active slow drafts. Just banged out about 10 of them because I was afraid they might finish before I got done with this. But let's take a look. Do I need to go to the draft? I got Love and Ward. I'm sitting here in the 13th round. 3 running backs. Do I have anything queued up? I don't have anything queued up. That's not usual. Jordan Love, Cam Ward, Green Bay, Tennessee. I'm guessing. All right, I got Green Bay stacked. I got Tennessee stacked, but I could look at bringbacks. I could look at setting up another quarterback. What do I got? Do I have any Carolina play? I really need to bounce that out to see the whole screen. All right. I got nothing Carolina. Actually, I could set up the Jet stack. I got a bunch of them, though. Let me flip to ADP rather than. All right. I've been getting a lot of Jonah Coleman. I'm going to start to eye up Tajay Spears. I think Kenyon Sadiq is probably the best way to go on this one. I don't have any stacks, and I don't really need to either. I could grab running back because, well, the alternative. Well, actually, no. I'll probably grab Dylan Sampson later. This would finish up. Yeah, I'll do this. Third tight end, Kenyon Sadiq. Not a bad move, and it gives me a double stack if when I get to Gino way back there. I like to queue up a couple guys just to kind of let myself know what I was thinking. But hopefully I don't time out if a lot of times I'll queue up a bunch of guys in between, but I want to allow myself like some background on where I was and what I was thinking. That should do it for now, actually. I'm done at tight end. I'll be done at running back. Woo! We filled the pug. Let's head over, and I will flip to here. All right. Let me find the draft in my upcoming active drafts. Should be easy to identify because I named the rest of them, and I like SLW for slow. So we're good. All right. I am in the 6 hole. We have Bradafolk, Bibardi, Frostmo, T. McNeil, Oak of Spruce, I don't know, Striving Pros, something BP Cologne. Colonna. Enwald, that I've seen before. He's a silver badge. That's why. Colonel Bland, something, Balin, Pips Cola, not recognizable names. If you jump in the chat and you're drafting, or if you're drafting along with me, jump in the chat, say hi, let me know where you are, and I'll be trying to evaluate your team along with mine. Draft starts out about normal. This is only a 3-entry max, so it's get your guy, and I guess Frost likes Puka over Chase, so he switched that up. But otherwise, fairly normal. First 4 are generally the first 4. 5 holes usually where we might see some change, but we go with the more normal JSN. We're looking at CMC here. Do I go wide? See James Cook. Get your guy. I am looking at a receiver or getting my guy. I'm going to grab Ashton Genty. Never know what pick I'm going to get on the next 2 entries. So for my first of the 3, I will grab my guy since I'm at this point in the draft. I've seen Genty go anywhere from the 1.4 to the 2.2. But I generally, I have him in my ranks just behind these 3 wide receivers that are probably going to go off next. But when and that's more for larger field tournaments. When I'm in a smaller field, time box, lower entry max, then I get my guy. I grab Genty. And likely coming back, we will get ourselves a running back. Although, there's one wide receiver I might consider. And Derrick Henry has the same bye week as Ashton Genty. And I don't like my top 2 running backs or top 2 receivers, right, wide receiver 1-2 or my running back 1-2 to have the same bye week. I feel as though it just kind of capture upside that 1 week. And I forgot to check. What is the advancement is 2 out of 12. So 2 of this group here through 14 weeks. And then 1 out of 5, 1 out of 5 in weeks 15 and 16, and 124 seat final. So we are really geared towards week 17 and the bringbacks. Couple of my guys going here. We see ARSB and CD Lamb go after my Genty pick, and then Jonathan Taylor fell quite far. I don't know if I've ever seen him at the 111. I've seen him at the 110. What am I left with? I am left with Chase Brown or possibly AJ Brown. I'm gonna go AJ Brown. I've kind of started to like splitting up this pick because sometimes in the 3rd or 4th round here, there's a running back I genuinely like, and I'd like to stick to 2 running backs through 5 rounds. Sometimes that 5th round, a running back might fall to me that I really like, and that'll be a 3rd running back. But I definitely want to stay. It's really easy to grab running back here because a lot of the good ones go really quick. So, the philosophy has been heavy RB, or the meta has been heavy RB this summer. But I'm starting to appreciate kind of a mixed blend, even build, or even just going the 1 running back and piling up receivers and quarterbacks and maybe slipping in the tight end. And then you kind of hero running back build or a solo running back build, depending on how you want to frame it. All right. So after I took AJ Brown, actually at the turn, we see the turn, the 1-2 turn was Kenneth Walker and Brock Bowers. Then we see Justin Jefferson make it to the 2.2. Then Saquon Barkley or Marion Hampton. I take AJ Brown. Then we see Chase Brown, Derrick Henry, Devon Achane, Drake London, Nico Collins, George Pickens, Emeka Egbuka, and Rashee Rice at the 2-3 turn. Don't usually see Egbuka going that soon. Jeremiah Love goes at 3.2, and then Devontae Smith, Kyron Williams, Breece Hall. Man, I would have been so happy if he fell back all the way back to me. Looks like my choice is going to be probably look at a Trey McBride, Chris Olave, Zay Flowers. T. Higgins goes. That was kind of another temptation. I'm going to go Zay Flowers over Chris Olave. I just still don't quite trust Chris Olave's health. If Olave falls to the 4th round, I'll probably grab him just because it's a huge ADP value. But I do think he's going to slowly kind of fall to that 4th round as we get closer to the summer, as we get more new people into these streets. All right, so where did I leave? Breece Hall went, then T. Higgins, Trey McBride. I took Zay Flowers. Then we see Chris Olave, Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne. Lad McConkey closes out the 3rd. I need to start early on. I was grabbing a lot of Etienne and kind of got a little bit overloaded on him, but I need to look and see how much I have him drafted now. Shoot, Josh Jacobs is the one I was really hoping fell to me, but I got tricks up my sleeve anyway. We'll be fine. Josh Allen is super tempting in the 4th round. But with AJ Brown and Zay Flowers, I'm kind of hesitant because of those stacks. And I really like Jalen Waddle. I'm going to grab him and go 3 wide receivers in a row. My wide receiver room I really like here. But after the Josh Jacobs at the 4.1, we see Malik Neighbors, Torrey McMillan, Garrett Wilson. I take Jalen Waddle, then Mike Evans and Josh Allen. I think the 4.7 is the latest I've ever seen Josh Allen go. And man, look at the James Cook drafter got pretty darn lucky there. Although I don't necessarily think he gave himself a unique combo. Maybe he's just a Liam Murphy fan or, an adjacent Buffalo fan. But he did, like, the 4.7 to get Josh Allen is tough to let go, and I would definitely have jumped on it had Waddle been gone. Basically, if I was a pick later, I don't think I could have gone in any other direction. Jalen Waddle, you'll notice, has been slowly creeping up in ADP. A lot of streamers have started streaming with each other in the past couple of weeks because it's, slow news time. So they kind of blend podcasts or whatever. And, and they've been talking up Jalen Waddle. And all of them seem to like him. So they're like all inching him up a little bit more. So if you're watching this, you probably watch plenty of other streams and know that they've been talking up Waddle, unless you're watching different ones than me. All right. So roster construction wise, I would like to go with a running back here. And there's a running back I like. But I'm going to go Lamar here. I'm going to go with, I have tons of the Baltimore stack. but this isn't the platform or the time to diversify. I do have a lot of Quinshon Judkins too, which would have been my pick. Um, Building a Baltimore stack with other, you know what? I might consider building this New England stack out too, but I do have Waddle, so I could build a Denver stack out later, and that's probably what I'll do. I'm actually surprised the Josh Allen drafter did not go with DJ Moore. He reached for Parker Washington. I would think he would easily have been able to get Parker Washington at the 6.7. And I think that's right about his ADP. Stacking with DJ Moore. And now he's stacked with James Cook, but a nice power stack there. It's a team bet. I like doing it. Like maybe if I could, well, I wouldn't draft Derrick Henry because of what I talked about with their bye weeks, but it still would not have been a tremendously bad move. So here I am kind of left with the dilemma that Drake May is definitely the best pick on the board. Thank you for taking Tyler Warren. It gives me an excuse to go with Jordan Tyson. Although Tyler Warren wouldn't have been a horrible pick. Actually, well, besides his week 13 bye, and I'm going to be looking for Mark Andrews later. So, but it was very tempting to go with Drake May there. Had I really thought it through and thought it out, I would have gone Judkins in the 5th. Maybe Lamar actually comes back. There's definitely a possibility of that. And had Lamar not come back, I had the Drake May set up right there. That was bad move on my part. I should have tried to get Jackson around the turn. And even if I didn't get him around the turn, I would have had a Drake May stack set up already. But then again, Drake May doesn't always make it to the 6.5. I see him go early 6th quite often, but it is what it is. All right. So after my Tyson pick, we see a huge run of that tier. I don't know. I guess I got to call it tier 2 quarterback because I think Josh Allen and Lamar are probably tier 1. Let's call it tier 1B. This is still a very good tier. Josh Allen's definitely ahead. Lamar is kind of that in between this, but I'll call this tier 1B. Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jalen Hurts. Actually, I don't think Caleb is in that tier, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Marvin Harrison and Tony Pollard close out the 6th. Then the 7th starts with Alec Pierce, Jalen Warren, Mekhi Lemon. Mekhi Lemon gets stacked with Hurts and got a double stack there with the Eagles. It's nice, Frostmo. I like that. All right, coming back. I only have one running back, so it'd be sweet if y'all left me the one I like coming back. If not, I'm probably gonna go receiver again. Just because I can. I like Dak and Justin Herbert and even Trevor Lawrence there, but I don't have any of their. All right, Ramondre went. I could probably get one of these wide receivers to come around the turn, and now I have 5 wide receivers, so I'm kind of stacked there to the gills for now. But I'm going to grab Cortland Sutton to stack with Jalen Waddle, hoping that kind of secures me a clear shot at Bo Nix later. Hopefully people there's nobody else that's going to be able to stack with them. As of this point, he is back stackable, 18th round. There's 3 receivers you can actually. I like to use them as a double stack. I don't if I almost always go who was it? Jaden Reed there. And he goes couple. So after Sutton goes Harvey, Prescott, Jaden Reed, Herbert, to close out the 7th, and then Tucker Kraft, Trevor Lawrence, Rico Dowdle coming back in the 8th. And man, not getting the selection of running back I would want at all, but I need to get one, so I will take Blake Corum. I was hoping Harvey would make it back in the 8th. The running backs that I like, I should have. The more I go through this draft, the more I wish I went Judkins in the 5th, and then Jackson or Drake May in the 6th, and I'm looking a lot nicer there. But we can bounce back. All right. Hopefully Blake Corum gets more than 45% of the touches in that backfield. I honestly don't really think so, though. They really like Kyron. They're going to use Corum for explosive plays, but they're going to use Kyron for the meat and potatoes rushing. And Kyron is a decent pass catcher too, so they'll probably switch series. And I guess it's the which series lasts longer gets the more snaps, but I don't think they're going to split it totally even. I figure Kyron will probably be leaned on in 2-minute drills or something, stuff like that. The important plays when you need somebody you trust. They trust Kyron. Not that they distrust Corum, but they really like Kyron Williams. So, all right, after my Corum pick goes Brock Purdy, Josh Downs, Chris Godwin, Jonathan Brooks. Yeah, he's Jonathan Brooks can go anywhere for the mid-8th to the mid-10th. Jonathan Brooks is a guy I really like, and in this type of build, I really hope he falls to me, but no such luck here. Then Jordan Addison, Kyle Monangai, Jackson Dart closes out the 8th. I think Dart is a very risky pick at the end of the 8th or even the 9th round. I wouldn't touch him until double digits, although I do have some stacked with neighbors just to but usually it's a draft where I have one of these top tier quarterbacks and he's my second. Starting out the 9th, we see Stafford, Laporta, Ricky Purcell, Kyle Pitts. Man, you didn't leave me any running backs, people. It's just not right. Do you see a tight end I like? Okay. So I'm not going to try to push Bo Nix around the turn, but that will close out the quarterback position for me. Got Nix double stacked. Jackson single stacked for now. Looking. Harold Fanning goes after my pick. Before my Bo Nix pick, we saw, after Kyle Pitts, we saw Xavier Worthy, Michael Pittman, J.K. Dobbins. I take Nix, then Harold Fannin, Kenneth Gainwell, Jacoby Myers, Jordan Love. Deciding here between running backs or maybe tight end. Think maybe running back gets super thin. But the two I was eyeing up just go. So I will grab Mark Andrews. And now I have a double stack of Baltimore. Don't really need to worry about stacking anymore. Just I have no conflicting bye weeks at wide receiver. I need some running backs. Running back and tight end are going to be my focus for a while. Unless a massive value falls to me at a wide receiver position. Just kind of queuing up some guys here. All right. Might have something fall to me. After my Andrews pick, actually, let me go back. So I made it to the end of the ninth, starting out the 10th. We see Matthew Golden, Kyler Murray, Rashad White, and Jordan Mason go right before my pick. I might have gone I might have gone running back there. Whew, little frog in my throat. I feel like the draft room is conspiring to lock me out of running back since I passed on Judkins. I've learned my lesson, people. Come on, give me something. All right, so after Andrews went Kevin Concepcion, Michael Wilson, Baker Mayfield, Bill, George Kittle, Jared Goff, Jaden Higgins, Aaron Jones starts the 11th with then Wandale Robinson, Chris Rodriguez, Romeo Dubs, Travis Kelsey. And those two tight ends going there make me think I probably could have gotten Andrews on the comeback, but didn't want to risk it. And I am left with the running back I really like, but often don't get him because Mark Andrews puts blinders on me, and I just automatically, I kind of have Mark Andrews in way too many drafts. I don't know. Maybe I need to check my exposure. I don't think it's actually over. It's probably around 25%, but I'm drafting in a lot of slow drafts, and those picks don't register in your ownership for a while. So it's like I need one of those apps that tell me ownership while I'm drafting. I think Legendary Upside's coming out, or they're coming out with a version that doesn't have the Sims. So like I like that a little bit better. All right. So I'm gonna go with Dallas Goedert. It was between him and another tight end that probably won't fall, but I'll point him out as he gets drafted. So after my Tyrone Tracy pick, and I'll talk about that pick in a bit. After Tracy, Tyler Shuck, Jake Ferguson, Travis Hunter, and Rashid Shaheed go off the board to finish out the 11th. Starting the 12th, Keaton Mitchell, Isaiah Likely, Malik Willis, Jalen Coker. I took Goddard. Then we see Omar Cooper and Stephon Diggs go. So the Tyrone Tracy pick, I like that pick a lot just because I don't think Scatterboo is going to live up to the hype. He was slow to start out with. He had a major ankle injury. Looks like he's bouncing back from the ankle injury. Not surprised. Wouldn't. In fact, he's either taking a bunch of Chinese peptides or he's taking something that is enhancing his recovery time. Let's say that. So I would say he could get busted for that. He plays recklessly. He's in the blue medical tent a lot, but the original point of him being slow to begin with and having a major ankle injury means he's just going to be slower. And we see reoccurrence of injuries in the slower dudes. Like if you're slow, chances are you're getting hit and you're getting hurt. That's just how I see it. And when that happens, Tyrone Tracy will be in. The only reason the Giants don't trust Tracy as much is his rookie year. He fumbled like 4 times in the red zone, like on the goal line a couple of times, clear shot at the end zone. So maybe some redemption there. There goes Chigakonkwo. That was the other tight end I was eyeing up. After my Goddard pick, we see Omar Cooper, Stephon Diggs, Woody Marks, another running back I like, Cam Ward, CJ Stroud, the quarterback I like in the 12th, along with Sam Darnold. Hunter Henry closes out the 12th. It is my pick. I will come back to that momentarily. I am probably said I was going to pivot off of this pick, but I'm going to come back to Jonah Coleman here. Um, I'm around 24% ownership, and I only want to be around 8%, 8 to 10%. But the reason I get him here is because of the Denver stack, and my bet against J.K. Dobbins staying healthy. If Dobbins doesn't stay healthy, Coleman is direct in line as a direct replacement for Dobbins. You probably won't get many high value touches, as they will use Harvey on the goal line. We saw that last year, but a shot on a rookie when I'm weak in the running back room, not a bad idea. So going back to the beginning of the 13th, we saw Pacheco, Daniel Jones, Chigakonkwo, Jalen Naylor, Trey Tucker, Jalen McMillan, Jawan Jennings. I take Coleman, then Denzel Boston, Brenton Strange, Kenyon Sadiq, and Tyler Algier closes out the 13th. To start the 14th, we see Trey Harris, Tank Bigsby, Bryce Young. All right, I don't usually draft this guy, but Pat Kerrane and Jacob Sanderson were just talking about the Tennessee backfield, and I have a ton of Nick Singleton. And again, till I'm blue in the face, I'll probably repeat myself. This isn't a format where you need to differentiate, but I'm looking at my portfolio as a whole as well. And the fact that I've been really off of Tyjae Spears. Like, I don't have much of them, so I want to blend them in. And I was actually going to get them in the 13th to avoid getting Coleman. Coleman just fits with the Denver stack. But since he comes back around, go ahead. I'll grab him, a 5th running back. I will likely go 6 running backs here because, like, I already have Baltimore double stacked. I already have Denver double stacked. They are some of my favorite 17th, 18th round picks. But very like, I really like Pat Bryant, but with having a double stack at wide receiver pretty much precludes me from doing that again. I would feel as though I need to go 8 wide receivers in that case. And in this build, I want to go 7 wide receivers and 6 running backs, just because I was very weak at running back to start and very strong at wide receiver. So I might just grab wide receiver if ones I like become available. Then again, I have plenty of choices here for sure. Well, I don't want to say plenty of choices here, but decent number. Oh, I need a tight end too. So there's a couple tight ends I like. There's players I like at each position, so I'll just kind of let the draft fall to me here. So, like, if the running back I like is next to the top of queue and there's a lot of space in between him and a receiver, if they're neck and neck, I'll kind of judge on what's left. And actually, Gunnar Helm going kind of adjusts my tight end need or want a little bit. All right, Deebo Samuel was next wide receiver I was eyeing up. So I'm actually going to hit running back for the last time. I'm going to grab Dylan Sampson. I do have a lot of them. I do think he is fairly undervalued. He'll be Cleveland's pass catching back. I expect they're going to be passing quite a bit. Because 2 reasons. One, their defense will be a lot weaker this year, and they're going to probably be playing from behind. All right, so after my Spears pick went Deshaun Stribling, Aronde Gadsden, TJ Hawkinson, Ryan Flournoy, Brian Robinson, Zach Charbonnet, Dalton Schultz to close out the 14th. Then starting the 15th went Alvin Kamara, Adonai Mitchell, Isaac Tesla, Gunnar Helm, Debo Samuel, Zachariah Branch, Jeremy Bernard. I take Dylan Sampson. I need to close out my running back room there. Then Dontavian Wicks goes. That's one of the receivers I kind of had my eye on. Greg Dulcich, AJ Barner, Fernando Mendoza, Antonio Williams. Nick Singleton goes a little bit early there. Ooh. All right, Malik Washington. So Singleton, his ADP has actually been dropping. I think Singleton's ADP is around 104 or 204 at this point. All right, so Ted Hurst goes. I'm going to skip the wide receiver I like because Terrence Ferguson is kind of the last tight end I'm excited to draft. There's a few other tight ends, an 18th rounder that I like. Pat Fryermuth, I drafted a lot of in the beginning, but then the Darrell Washington kind of buzz has come about. I want to see with Darnell Washington's actual weight is, because there was rumors of him dropping 50 pounds with guidance of the team. And, but I can't imagine how athletic he would be at 260 or 270 when he's damn athletic at 311 pounds. So play that by ear, see what happens. But I wanted Ferguson, and I will finish out the last 2 rounds at receiver. I will shoot for upside, although I got to skip. Upside, I might grab a Baltimore receiver for correlation just because there's a plethora of them here that are draftable. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping a couple upside wide receivers fall in my lap. I feel no need to stack another Baltimore player, having Flowers and Mark Andrews, and then the triple stack of Denver if you count the running back Jonah Coleman. After Fryermuth, or after my Ferguson pick, goes Fryermuth, Jaden Blue, Kate Otten, Emmett Johnson, Sean Tucker, Mike Gesicki, Aaron Rodgers to close out the 16th. 17th is Katron Allen, Eli Stowers, Ray Davis, Malik Washington. Jerry Jeudy is the wide receiver I had hoped would fall to me. But another high upside wide receiver that I have about 30% of now. At one point, I was at 49% Tank Dell. But I've worked that down to 30%. But really like him, one of my guys this year. Jerry Jeudy is also one of my guys this year. After Jerry Jeudy went Kenyon Black and Calvin Ridley. I take Tank Dell. If Tank Dell's healthy, man, even if it's just the second half of the season, watch out. My team's I'm going to be making it rain. After my Tank Dell pick goes Geno Smith. I think the Jets stack is a good one this year too. The late 4 guys you can get. Marshawn Lloyd at 1710, Brandon Ayuk 1711, and Surratt, the Baltimore stack that I was considering, ends the 17th round. 18th round starts out Tyquan Thornton, Braylon Allen. 2 picks till it gets to me. I could stack a Baltimore wide receiver. But there's one other pick that there's 2 other picks I like. 2 other picks I like. I'm going to go with Keenan Allen. I think he plays somewhere, and it's probably a first half kind of pick. And I usually only get Keenan Allen when I have as an 8th wide receiver. I don't really like relying on him as a seventh, and I probably could have gone with Bateman for the stack, or I don't really draft Yoshivas. There's a couple of other guys here. One I'm going to keep my mouth shut about because I am actually going to join another pug right now. It might take a while to fill, but if you are trying to jump in with me, yeah, there's 8 spots open. So I'll jam in a couple of slow drafts in between and go over my team. If there's anybody here listening, watching, that is also in this draft, let me know. I'll wait until it closes out. I remember caring about, hey, how did that close out? Hey, let me see the end of that draft. I want to see the whole last round. But really, now that ADPs are updated in lobbies, like you can see what normally goes. But after Jalen Lane went right before me. I wasn't really looking at that though. I was looking at Bateman. The Jalen Lane, theoretically, I like. I mean, he was picked around before Surratt. But the reports I hear on him is that he doesn't separate. He's mostly was drafted for special teams. And he's big and can go up and get it, and he's a target in the end zone. But hello, Mark Andrews. Probably if Mark Andrews goes down, Lane might have some use. But the comparison I heard was Miles Boykin. So that kind of faded me off. But after I take Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp is another one that I just think it's dust time. I've been wrong about Kupp his entire career though. So like literally from the time he was a rookie, the 1 year I was on him, he pooped the bed, or didn't do nearly what he was drafted to do. Darren Waller, that's a massive mistake. He ain't playing this year. Pat Bryant, great pick. Michael Penix, I like that if you have a Atlanta stack. Jalen Noel is the other. I kind of like everybody on Houston in bits and pieces. I like everybody on Houston's price, I think. Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram is one of those that like in a tight end premium where you get like 1.5 or more PPR. I like him still, but in a 0.5 PPR where you're really relying on touchdowns from your tight end, Evan Ingram ain't that guy. He just never has been really. Still waiting for 4. I still haven't gone over my team. I start out Ashton Genty, then I come back with AJ Brown, Zay Flowers, Jalen Waddle. Got Lamar on the stack. I talked about how I kind of wish I had gone with Judkins there. Trying to push Lamar around the turn, because it does look like this turn was one of them could have grabbed Lamar, but the thing is I would have been okay with that because I had AJ Brown. I could have stacked Drake May. I often worry though that if the person at the 6'1" or 6'2" drafts, Jane Daniels or any other quarterback, it starts this run we see right after my Jordan Tyson pick in the 6th. So, 6 of this, half the other. Anyway, after Tyson in the 6th, I go Cortland Sutton in the 7th. So through 7 rounds, I only have 1 running back. Felt the need for running back, and it was quite thin pickings. But Blake Corum should give me a floor anyway, week to week. In a pretty empty RB2 or a very empty RB2 slot. Then I go with Bo Nix, where I have double stacked the Waddle and Sutton. Came back with Mark Andrews to stack with Lamar, the Baltimore stack, a double stack at that point. And this was a reach, like a full round reach, but I was a little bit worried that like he would go right here, and nothing aggravates me more than missing out on that the pick I absolutely want right here when there was no real pick that I was like drooling over here. If Rashad White or Mason made it to me, I probably would have gone with the running back and tried to push Andrews around. But I'm actually happier with doing this because I like Tracy just as much as White or Mason. I mean, I wouldn't say he should be going next to them. I would say more like they should be falling back a bit. Although it's right around where I would have it, except JCM I would have right next to Chris Rodriguez. One of those two will pay off at ADP, and I don't think it's going to be JCM. But after Tracy, I go with Dallas Goedert, Jonah Coleman, Tajay Spears, Dylan Sampson, and I definitely talked about those picks as I took them. Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson is the Rams wide receiver 3. In fact, the back half of last year, when you heard about them doing all the 13 personnel, it was Ferguson lined up in the slot or at the Z. Their coach has said a couple times, I think, actually, he could literally play any tight end position, whether it's inline or move tight end. He could play any of the wide receiver positions, X, Z, slot, flank, whatever you want to call it. So if he can do all that, I wouldn't be surprised if you see him in tush push or 2 or something, running the ball. They didn't notice until about halfway through the season last year how much of an athlete he was, but he's been kind of the talk of camp. And with already having Andrews and Goddard, I could go with kind of an high upside flyer. And I did that again with Tank Dell. Keenan Allen, I'm wishy-washy on that pick, but the other guy I would have gotten, maybe I get in the next draft. Waiting for one more in this pug. Join us if you're watching. Come on in the draft. Waiting for one more in the pug. I usually do some slow drafts while I'm waiting, but whenever there's one more person, as soon as I click, there we go, filled. Sweet. I was going to say, as soon as I click the button to go to my slow drafts, boop, this fills, and we are good to go. Oh, Eagles is here. I'm surprised he only has a silver badge and not gold or whatever the platinum diamond badge. They did what I thought they should do, and like they went from just the 2 badges, the red and the black, to there are people that have done 50,000 drafts. Now they're including like the Battle Royale 6-round drafts and these things, and the daily baseball and basketball. I don't know if they're called Battle Royales or whatever, but the 6-player drafts that go in 10 minutes, which I love during the football season. We'll be doing some of them. I'd like to say Sunday morning, but a lot of times by Sunday morning they're closed. I might squeeze in a weekend draft. Actually, maybe what I'll do, I'll probably stream before the Thursday games, and then maybe as the games start, I'll do some battle royales in the first quarter because, well, we can kind of watch and play at the same time. Anyway, starting off the draft. Jahmyr Gibbs. I was like, what the hell is his first name? Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson. Yeah, I know his first name. Just like you see the J there and you're like, what? Being on camera is a rough one. Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, your standard start. Probably JSN here, but I definitely seen that mixed up. We're in the 8 hole last time too, right? In the 8 hole again. So I'm not going to reach for my guy. Christian McCaffrey goes at the 5 hole. We'll probably see JSN go here. So in the last draft, I was in the 8 hole and reached for my guy. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to go with falling value, or all right, JSN goes, I will go ARSB. I just think ARSB, while having a just as high a ceiling as any of these guys, has a higher floor. Like I think ARSB is one of the smarter picks, especially in the back of this round. I do have, so my official best ball rankings you can see on wheelrouteff.com. You can go check that out right now if you like. But I have Gibbs, Bijan, Chase Puka, then I have Ashton Genty, CMC, then JSN, ARSB. But yeah, I throw Genty and CMC ahead of JSN, but ARSB is right after that. Would have been nice to get JSN in the 8 hole. I haven't seen that yet. I have seen him in the 7th, but rare. After ARSB, Jonathan Taylor, Ashton Genty, James Cook, Justin Jefferson to finish out the first. And then the second is Barkley, Chase Brown, Amari Hampton. I am looking at Kenneth Walker, Derrick Henry, or, well, I would skip Devon Achane. Devon Achane, I would take like end of the second. I'm going to grab Derrick Henry here. I love all of Baltimore this year. It's actually where I currently live. I am not a Ravens fan by any stretch of the imagination, though. Although this year, with as much Henry, Lamar, Flowers, Andrews, as much as I'm probably close to 20% or over on some of them. Or all of them, I should say. Henry, I can check it later. Probably 17 or 18%. Lamar, probably the same. Flowers, I'm probably right around 20%. And Andrews, I think I'm around 25%. But anyway, so Kenneth Walker went the pick before me. I take Henry, then Devon Achane. As I said, Devon Achane is a guy I will take like at 211, 212. He is super talented. I just don't think he's going to be playing in December and January. I don't see it. I think Miami will be a 2-win team at that point, maybe 4 by the end of the season. But there's no reason to play him in December if you're not even close to the playoffs. I mean, if you're mathematically eliminated by November, you start cutting them back, and then you have a talk with them around Thanksgiving and say, hey, what do you think about the IR to close out the season? And you can just, start to rest, and we can get to, practicing and training a little bit earlier this year than we have in the past. And he might be adaptable to that if he's on a 2 and whatever team. After Achane, Pickens, A.J. Brown, Drake London, Nico Collins, Brock Bowers at 211. And the last one, I think he went at the 2-1. And then Breece Hall closes out the second. Then we see Chris Olave, Devontae Smith, Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers. This is going a little bit different, but by the time it gets to me, it's looking very similar. It gets although Emeka Egbuka went at the 3.1 last time. Chris Olave went, what was it, like the 3.10 last time? 3.9 maybe. So a little bit jumbled up, but by the time it hits me, it's probably going to look like same old stuff. Oh, no. So I'm not really in on Trey McBride this year. I have very little of him. But at 3.8, he starts to present a value there. I was really hoping Jeremiah Love fell to me. I would have been pretty excited about that. But the 3.8, actually, I think I passed on McBride at the 3.8 in the last draft just because Flowers was still there. So now we're switching it up quite a bit, actually. None of the same players, and I went from splitting running back and receiver, I could end up going heavy receiver after this, though, too. All right, after Trey McBride, Kyron Williams, Ladd McConkey, Javonte Williams, and Josh Allen close out the third. Travis Etienne falling to the fourth, I'm going to if Etienne, if I see Etienne in the fourth, game over. Like it's auto draft. Damn, I was hoping Josh Jacobs would make it back to me, but I am going to go, and I'm gonna shoot the moon here. Go Neighbors. Waddle was super tempting again. He goes to the pick right after me. The Eagles. Eagles is he does about 3,000 drafts a year. If you don't know that name, actually, it may not be the same Eagles because there's a number after this one. Well, it's a silver badge. It's got to be Eagles. Actually, I would think Eagles would be like gold or diamond or whatever is the highest of the highest. But he definitely goes on other platforms as well. Maybe it's him, maybe it's somebody different. But it's like the smart move there probably would have been Waddle. But I already have super safe floor in ARSB. And Neighbors presents probably more upside than Waddle. Definitely not the same floor. And Neighbors could be out quite a while. But he could start week one. And that's kind of what I'm gambling here on in the fourth round. I have seen Neighbors start to fall a little further and would love to see Neighbors in the fifth, which is possible depending on what kind of news you hear at camp. But camps are going to start next week. So it's probably never going to make it there unless we hear bad reports, and then we don't necessarily want him until he gets to the mid-fifth maybe. So Waddle might have been the pick. After Etienne, Tator McMillan, Josh Jacobs, Garrett Wilson, I take Neighbors. Then Waddle goes, Terry McLaurin, Luther Burden, Devontae Adams, Scam Catabust, Mike Evans, and Colston Loveland. I was saying last draft when Tyron Tracy came around that I don't think Scatterboo is going to come close to paying off that fourth round value. I think for like 3 or 4 weeks, everybody's going to be like, yeah, told you so. Yeah, there he goes. And then dust. In the fifth, we start out with JMO. I like to call him Whiskey Bill, Jameson Williams, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift. Lamar Jackson goes to the Zay Flowers drafter at the 5-4. Then Travion Henderson. Quinshon Judkins goes. And Tootin goes the pick before me. I will break down. I'll get Bucky. I'm going to be pissed if Price comes back to me. I probably should have gone Christian Watson there. Christian Watson was the pick there. And the wide receivers kind of super thin out. Bucky to me is I have him still ranked ahead of Jadarian Price, but I'm contemplating switching that. And now the receivers are going to go, and I'm going to be a little bit pissed off. But it is better to be pissed off than it is to be pissed on. So at least that didn't happen. Yeah. After Bucky goes, we see Carnell Tate, Christian Watson, Brian Thomas, DJ Moore, Jordan Tyson. Might come back with a quarterback, but I don't have any stack this time. And then we see Roma Dunze go. It really thins out my choices at wide receiver. Jaden Daniels goes. He would have been the quarterback I would have snagged had I gone that direction. Could go Drake May and backstack. But now the thing is, so many people have the A.J. Brown, Drake May stack. Do I fall behind at that? Yeah, I'm going to go Drake May. Again, Jadarian Price is probably the pick there. I wish so 2 drafts, 5th round. Well, questionable. 5th round, questionable in 2 drafts. Eagles is going 4 running backs in the first 6 rounds. probably won't draft another. And mm, I have two solid ones. I really worry about Bucky playoff time, but maybe by then he starts to turn his kind of, I don't want to say his luck around, but his attitude. But like it's really like he's going through some mental health issues because of the death of his friend and being injured for the first time. And if you've never gone through a recovery and PT and all that, it can be quite stressful the first time. So I think that was the story behind him and his shoulder anyway. We'll see though. Hope for the best. So I will need to backstack Drake May. I do think Drake May. I mean, it's debatable whether he's the QB3 or Daniels is, but they like. I think they both belong in the fifth round. I think you could push both of them up, and I would still be drafting them in the mid to late fifth. I think Lamar should probably be late fourth, like maybe ahead of Devontae, definitely ahead of Scatterboo and Evans. Loveland is debatable. That's right around where I've been drafting Loveland, but I need to back off him. Anyway, after May went Jadarian Price, Marvin Harrison. I could have gone Marvin Harrison there too, actually, now that I think about Caleb Williams, Tony Pollard, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Ramondre Stevenson at the 6-12. And then to start the seventh, we see Alec Pierce, Jalen Warren, Chuba Hubbard, Quentin Johnson, Parker Washington. Leave me a wide receiver, guys. Dak Prescott goes. Looks like I will get a wide receiver. Maybe not the one I necessarily want, though. In which case, I'm actually I'm going to reach a little and get Jaden Reed. I just like him a bit better than Metcalf, and I did the Cortland Sutton Denver stack last time, so I just not very high on Pittsburgh. Definitely think Aaron Rodgers is at the end of his rope, and we'll have a tough time getting the ball out in the second half of the season, and that's what we are gearing ourselves for, is that week 17. After Jaden Reed went Metcalf, and then Herbert and Lawrence go after that. And then we see Jordan Addison come off the board to finish the seventh. We are starting the eighth now. Going to queue up a few guys that'll probably be gone by the time it gets to me, but we can always hope for the best, right? Starting off the eighth goes Kyler Murray, and I'm not going to say massive reach, but a definite reach. He's going for the double stack there. He has the double stack there with Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. Kyler Murray usually goes, I want to quite late. Like I think he would have come all the way back at the 9-12. All right, Godwin goes. Sutton is still there. I'm going to grab Sutton. Who knows? Maybe I stack Denver again. If you're gonna hand it to me, I'm gonna take it. I was off Denver for until a couple of weeks ago, and then just started looking at the team, working out projections, and realized, holy cow, that with the addition of Waddle, that's going to be a pretty strong offense. Yeah, their defense is super strong and could keep the games low scoring. And somebody brought up in my last yesterday that Bo Nix has been the wide receiver or the quarterback 7 and quarterback 8 in overall scoring the past 2 years, his rookie year and sophomore year. But I also pointed out that like a massive bulk of his scoring was fourth quarter comebacks, which, is great for a quarterback and their legacy and their leadership and the team unity. But you don't want to be completely reliant on, I'm not going to call it garbage time, but those come from behind points because they're not going to be consistent. But with the additional Waddle, I don't think there's any reason that they can't score in the first quarter this year. Sutton could be kind of being dusted out, but I will double stack in, well, I guess the 17th round because the guy I like is moving up a bit. But in the 17th round, I'll throw in a double stack. That will be what Todd Burrow coined as the stack cuff. You didn't usually talk about wide receivers, but you can in this case, and I'll get to that when I do it. After Sutton went Xavier Worthy, Corum, Kyle Monangai, J.K. Dobbins, Rico Dowdle, Brock Purdy. Purcell closes out the 8th, and then to start the 9th, we see Tyler Shuck, Matthew Golden, Laporta, Matt Stafford, Harold Fannin. So, wow. Patrick Mahomes should go there, right? All right. So Josh Downs falls to me. Yeah, I like him. I do like Pittman is there in ADP right after that. And I know I just said don't like Pittsburgh very much, but I actually think Pittman will probably outscore Metcalf, or they'll be really close to being even. And 2 rounds later, I'm very frugal. Some people call me cheap. I say frugal. I like value picks, and Pittman is a value pick here as well. Shoot. There's damn it, Jonathan Brooks. How did I miss him? I'm just being, I distracted myself with the Josh Downs there. I would have liked Jonathan Brooks there. He really would have fit. And at the end of the 9th, like last round, he went mid 8th, even early 8th, I think. I think he went with like the 8-4 in the last draft. And that's what I said. He goes anywhere from there, the mid 8th, to the mid 10th, really. And I think I'm down to, I looked today, I think I'm under 30% Brooks for the first time all offseason. The pre-draft, I was up around 37%. I worked that down to 30% exactly, I think. All right, I'm looking. Who do I? Ooh. Oh, I already have May. Shoot. Damn, I got to reach. I should have gotten Jonathan Brooks where I got Downs because I need to stack Drake May, so I'm going to go Dubs. I could have gone quarterback because I do have a stack lined up. Bo Nix went, but I should have gotten Jordan Love there. I'm kind of actually instead of I was in a tough spot. What are you going to do? I doubt the quarterback I want comes back to me. Oh, Jared Goff would have been a stack too. So this Nix and Goff kind of just jacked me all up. I should have gone Love there for the stack. I just hope Dubs made it back around. It's because I think he's more likely. I've reached like 8 picks, which is not a bad thing. But it gives me 6 wide receivers too. So I'm kind of going to back off, especially if I am going to need to backstack a quarterback at some point. Yeah, I'm in rough shape here, guys. All right, so after Downs went Michael Wilson, Pittman, Jonathan Brooks, Khalil Shakir to close the 9th. The 10th round went Kincaid, Bo Nix, Jacoby Myers, Jared Goff. I went with Romeo Dubs for the stack. Then Kyle Pitts goes. That's a value too. Gainwell, Rashad White, Jordan Mason, Wan'Dale Robinson, George Kittle, and Malik Willis closes out the 10th. Then the 11th, we see Rashid Shaheed, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Coker, Mark Andrews, Kevin Concepcion. And I'm going to get so teased here and so rug pulled. I can feel it. I know it. in my bones, I know it's gonna happen. It's gonna. I'm not gonna let it aggravate me because it's just it's disappointing. Jordan Love came all the way back. I can close out quarterback there with May and Love. I can close out quarterback. I don't need to worry about backstacking somebody else. Woohoo! I do need to worry about tight end and running back. Oh no, not tight end. I have McBride there early. I need to worry about gathering up some running back firepower. Do I get too excited? It's fun though. This is the fun of drafting, right? Like you get your guy to fall. Like Love is ADP 112 goes at 110, 128. That's worth kind of little jig, little dance, little Caddyshack gopher. That's what I give it, the little Caddyshack gopher. After Jordan Love goes Chris Rodriguez, Stephon Diggs, Baker Mayfield, and Jake Ferguson. And man, my guy's coming back to me. Tyrone Tracy. Woohoo. Did I? Oh, 12th round, Keaton Mitchell, Jalen Naylor, Chigakonkwo, Cam Ward, and I get Tyrone Tracy. I could have gone Aaron Jones there too. It's just one of those things where Aaron Jones is old, and like in an eliminator format where you're geared towards week 1, I like Aaron Jones, but in these like BBM style formats, the tournament, the playoff style formats, you want to gear yourself, especially in this one where it's a 2 of 12, 1 of 5, 1 of 5, then 1 of 127. That you really want to stack and backstack for week 17. So I got New England that I need. I got a New England stack. I would like to double stack it. And the bring back to New England is Denver. So that I got Sutton, and I might double back that. I talked about what my plan is with the Denver wide receiver there. And then Green Bay, I can backstack with Houston, and I love being able to do that later. In fact, I'd love Stroud as a 12th round pick because the backstack options are so available there. So cool. Denver, Houston, Green Bay is done. New England. Teams I'm looking for. So after my Tyrone Tracy pick went Sam Darnold, Isaiah Likely, CJ Stroud, Aaron Jones, Omar Cooper, Dallas Goedert, and Jalen McMillan closes out the 12th. I will get to the 13th momentarily. Next in ADP is Woody Marks. He has the same bye week as Tyrone Tracy, but I'm going to go ahead and grab that anyway. I do think Woody Marks will be consistently used as a third down back in the Houston backfield, and I do think they will be passing more this year. Although, maybe not, actually. David Montgomery is a better option than Nick Chubb was last year, so maybe they'll be running a little bit more. But Woody Marks will be used in a role that fits him much, much better than what they had him doing last year. Did I miss? Yeah, I missed Derrick Henry. That would have been the round to stack him, but c'est la vie. So I can look at a different tight end if I like. And that's probably the direction I will go in. There are a good amount of running backs here that I like, but I can wait on running back. Kenyon Sadiq was the tight end I would have wanted. We'll see. Maybe I do go running back. Jonah Coleman goes. I could go Tajay. I got Tajay last. You know what? I'm gonna backstack Green Bay with Dalton Schultz. I might do it with the receiver as well, but just Dalton Schultz, like Davis Maddock today was talking about how Dalton Schultz is outscored. Like, let me look at the receivers going in front of him, like Coker. Coker played 7 games. I think he outscored Higgins. He outscored who's the Buffalo wide receiver? Shakir, a couple other players that you would have thought would have outscored Schultz. Now, don't get me wrong. If their wide receiver core stays healthy this year, they have 5 wide receivers that are professional NFL wide receivers, and will probably take targets away from Schultz, but we'll see. All right, so 13th round, I'm backtracking quite a bit. Went Gadsden, Denzel Boston, Bryce Young, Juwan Johnson, Brenton Strange, Hunter Henry, Travis Hunter. I had my eye on him too. I took Woody Marks. Then we see Daniel Jones, Trey Tucker, Juwan Jennings, Isaiah Pacheco, close out the 13th, 14th round. Goes Hawkinson, Flournoy, Kenyon Sadiq, Jonah Coleman. I take Schultz. Debo goes after that. Then we see a running back run of Tyjae Spears, Algier, Tank Bigsby, Brian Robinson, Fernando Mendoza, and Isaac Tesla close out the 14th. 15th starts with Adonai Mitchell, Zach Charbonnet, AJ Barner, Trey Harris, Deshaun Stribling. Eyeing up my next picks. Who did I say I wanted to target? I'll go with Gunnar Helm and close out my tight end room. I do think Gunnar Helm is going to be heavily targeted. If I wait on Helm, I'm hoping for Ferguson. And I did get him to come around the 16th last draft, but that's not always a guarantee. How many running backs do I have? Let me just double check this. I got 4 running backs. Okay, I got to stay away from the week 8 bye there. Bingo to that. Oh, there go the other. Oh, I know what running back I want. I could go in a couple different directions at running back. Tight end is done. My stacks are done, although I didn't complete the New England stack the way I wanted to. Maybe I wait until the last round for running back. Maybe not. I know what I'm going to do. All right. Yeah. All right. So after Helm went, it's my pick. I'm going to go Jaden Blue, close out my running back room. And then there are, I'm not going to get either of the receivers I want. But I do have backup plans for both of them. The backup plans are kind of creeping up as well. We'll see though. Okay. All right. So I had all the other positions out of ADP. So maybe I get the guys I want. Probably not, but we'll see. After my Gunnar Helm pick, actually before my Gunnar Helm pick, I left off at Stribling. At the 15-6 went Malik Washington. At 15-7 goes Aaron Rodgers. Then I take Helm. Antonio Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Greg Dulcich, and Jeremy Bernard close out the 15th. The 16th round starts with Calvin Ridley, Alvin Kamara, Kate Otten, Pat Fryermuth. I take Jaden Blue. Then we see Sean Tucker, Dontavian Wicks, Terrence Ferguson goes. Then Cooper Kupp, Zachariah Branch, Mike Washington. I guess Mike Washington has the contingency upside, but I'm not so sure about that. He was a darling at the combine, so maybe. Marshawn Lloyd goes. I like his upside, but man, he's burned me a couple times. I draft Lloyd in the 17th or 18th. The 16-12 is the same thing. 17th round starts out with Tua. And I don't mind. Does he have a stack in any way? I don't see a stack of Tua. Whenever I grab Tua, I always if if it's a Pitts or London team, grabbing Tua in the last round is always something I like to do. Geno Smith falling to the 17th, man, I definitely like that a lot. I have a ton of the Jets stack. Geno is really creeping up to like the 15th, but now lately I've seen him falling back down. I think the 3 QB meta dominated May and June, but so far in July it's starting to ease off, and maybe in August we get back to a 2 QB meta. Damn, Tank Dell goes. I really wanted him. I think he fits perfectly under this team. Oh, actually, I have 6 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks. So I could grab another running back, and actually, had I'm just plain simple missed Dylan Sampson. I would have grabbed Dylan Sampson ahead of Jaden Blue. How did I miss that? Wow, that was a big miss on my part. I really like Dylan Sampson. I probably would have grabbed in the 15th round had I just must have glazed over him. Dylan Sampson is one of my more owned running backs, probably in the 15 to 20% range. Maybe more than that. It might be over 20%. But I like him in the 15th. I think he's going to be, do really well with the pass catching duties. Oh, I got to figure out whether I want to go running back or wide receiver. I think I'm going to go running back. I just feel a little weaker at that position. And there's some running backs. I like the wide receivers I have queued up are Jalen Noel and Troy Franklin. Oh no, I got Pat Bryant, so I'm gonna get rid of Franklin. I do like Noel as a bring back to Green Bay, but I did get Schultz, so I don't necessarily need to double and Woody Marks. So I have 2 bring backs on Green Bay already. I think this team probably would be better off with 6 running back. And I don't usually go 6 running back. But Bucky kind of makes me a little nervous. I do have Tracy and Marks on the same bye week. If I had gone Sampson, I would have felt if I go Sampson in the 15th, I probably get Ferguson in the 16th. I might still be geared up towards running back here. And I'm going to grab my second most owned running back is Nick Singleton. And normally, like if we were doing a puppy say, I would probably back off Singleton and maybe back off Blue because I'm starting to get a lot of him. I do think Blue is going to be the set in stone RB2 on Dallas by the time we get a couple weeks into training camp. OTAs, he seemed to really change his attitude and, really showing he wants to be part of the team and ready to, work hard to get on the field. So far, it seems that way. So we'll see what camp looks like, and I might totally back off of that. And actually, just if you want to jump in with me, I'm going to jump in another pug right now. It'll be the last draft I do, but as we saw last time, the pug sometimes has a tough time filling because it's a max 3 entry, and wow, we need 10 for the next one. So I'll go over my team. If there's first time finding your kind, all right, nice, thanks, BS Funk. Are you in this draft at all? Are you drafting with us? If you are, just let me know what team you are, and I'll go over your squad for you. All right, we see this draft close out with Jalen Noel, who I had, and Troy Franklin. My next 2 in queue go right off the board. Ted Hurst is another one that has some upside throughout the season. Colby Parkinson, Brazel, Jack Besh. I hope he does well because my dynasty teams, I was hyped on him last year. And then Justice Hill closes the draft out. Justice Hill is a guy I'm constantly like, I should probably get more of him. With as much Henry as I have and relying on him, I should stash some Justice Hill in the 18th round to cover my ass. You got your pugs filled. All right, cool. and just help me out, guide me, give me suggestions as it comes up. Uh, First round, it's going to take a little while. Notify your friends, fill the pug. I'm looking for 10. So I'll skip to some slow drafts if we need to kill some time. But this draft went ARSB, Derrick Henry, Trey McBride, Malik Neighbors, Bucky Irvin. And I talked about my kind of thoughts and process, and that this isn't a normal build for me at all, which is kind of the reverse of what I said I wanted to do in these in the pug, because there's so few entries, but being redundant. Sixth round, I grabbed Drake May because most of the time he's a fairly easy back stack, although he's being front stacked with AJ Brown a whole lot more now than he had been. And it might be a necessary tool, or might be a necessary stack. So Drake May without AJ Brown is kind of, well, in the small time box, I'll be all right. In a larger, like BBM that will go through mid-August, probably not a good idea to try to just backstack him or stack him without AJ Brown anymore. Then I go 4 wide receivers: Reed, Jaden Reed, Sutton, Josh Downs, and Romeo Doubs. I talked about how I thought the Josh Downs pick might have been a bad move, but then I get lucky with Jordan Love coming all the way back to me at the 11.8. Grab Tyrone Tracy in the 12th. I thought I had a lot more. Pre-draft, I was up around, I think, 15% Tracy. And I thought I was up around 20% in regular. And maybe I have him in a bunch of slow drafts. So maybe I'm, mentally computing those drafts in. But I think now I'm up at 9%. I need to get more exposure to Tracy just because I think Scatterboo is going to be a scatter bust. Woody Marks is another one. I think he will be in his catching role that he was meant for. And you'll see him running around the outside a lot more as opposed to up the gut. Up the gut is not a Woody Marks trait that he even has in his bag. So they got desperate last year, had to use him that way. And I think it wore him down, and it kind of nullified any positive effect that he might have had. I don't think he's great. I do think he's in a great situation. And now he should be in the role he was meant to play. After that, in the 14th, I went with Dalton Schultz as a bring back to the Green Bay stack. Then Gunnar Helm, just because I think he's going to be heavily targeted. I reached too far for Jaden Blue because I didn't realize Dylan Sampson was still out there. I just glazed over that. I would have grabbed Dylan Sampson in the 16th. I might have grabbed him in the 15th had I seen him there or noticed it there, and come back with Ferguson in the 16th. But then I would have wanted Pat Bryant here, and I would have ended up with a similar team. Anyway, I don't mind this ending, especially the Nick Singleton. He's going to be special teams all the way up until their bye, barring injury. But as the old ass Pollard wears down and the no knees, Spears gets crotchety, Nick Singleton could emerge as something we all desire, because if you look back to his first 3 years at Penn State, he was rather dominant. And the only reason he didn't come out early was because the running back class in 2025 was really good. So he didn't project as well as they thought he would. They knew the running back class in 2026 was going to be rather weak. They kind of thought, and I remember writing down Nick Singleton RB1 next year. But then, of course, we got Jeremiah Love coming out. So Nick Singleton isn't my RB2, but he is in this rookie class. But he is, all right, so Jadarian Price obviously is my RB2 at this point. I think I had Coleman ahead, but Nick Singleton is in my top 5 running backs in this class. It's a weak class, and he was drafted on day 3. So there's no reason to think he's actually going to start out of the gate hot. But again, we don't care about the gate. We care about the finish line. We care about week 17 here. So maybe by then he really starts to emerge. I like the way the team came out, especially with the Denver stack cuff. Todd Burrows used that term. I believe it was more for running backs. In fact, I think it was the year of Atlanta having, oh God, I'm going to go back. Of course, I'll remember it as soon as this stream is over. Tevin Coleman, and I can't think of the other running back's name, but Atlanta had 2, and he was saying there was one year, Devontae Freeman. There was one year like Devontae went in the top 3 rounds, and Coleman you could get in the 18th to 20th, and then like the next year it flipped. But either year you'd have been just fine because the guy that was in the 20th round ended up like dominating the second half of the season when they kind of ham and egg. I call it a ham and egg each other. Either way, you're going to get your protein one week or another, but usually not on the same week. There's some like Denver has 3 running backs, so it's a little bit tough. But I could see a Harvey Coleman stack gearing more towards the back half of the season. There's a couple others in here. Even the Giants could be, but Giants aren't that great a team. I'm heavy on Tracy because I think Scattaboo is his trips to the medical tent are going to catch up with him. Oh, we are off and running in the next draft. It was slowly filling. Here we are. Don't have to do any slow drafts. Woohoo! I feel like the slow drafts are hard to kind of give you the draft board, and you're pulling up everything and then opening and closing gets a little bit. Sorry about the waving. Anyway, I talk with my hands sometimes. All right, so this draft starts out Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Christian McCaffrey in the 5-hole again. JSN goes at 6 this time. Looking fairly standard, except the McCaffrey JSN flip. And I'm in the 9-hole this time. I'm really same spot in the draft each time. I got ARSB last time. I'll go CD this time, I guess. I know a running back's going to come back to me. I already did my reach for my guy, so I'll just take what typically falls to me. Jonathan Taylor went after JSN at the 1.7, then the ARSB that I got at the 1.8 last time. I really wish I had like a beginning, middle, and the end so I could really kind of differentiate these drafts. Although the second draft was quite different than the first, even in the same spot. So gave you a good look there. After Lamb went James Cook, Ashton Genty, Justin Jefferson closes out the first. Then we see Barkley, Amari, and Hampton. And I am left with a choice, but since I went wide receiver first round, I will go running back second round. Thank you. I didn't really want to take Chase Brown. I wanted Kenneth Walker over him. Nothing against Chase Brown. I just I have both Walker and Derrick Henry ranked above him, so I kind of would prefer one of those guys, and I get Walker. I think Walker's going to have a pretty good year. I think Kansas City needs to really establish the run this year. That cover 2 defense that teams were really playing against them, or the shell defense, really held Mahomes to dink and dunk. And yeah, he can play that way. In fact, they 2 years ago they won the Super Bowl, right? Yeah, they can still win that way. Whether they lose the Super Bowl, they made it to the Super Bowl. Either way, they can play that way, but they're not the Kansas City offense. I think And the way to defeat the cover two shell is dink and dunk and a solid run game, and especially up the middle style run game. But they didn't have that in any way, shape, or form. But Kenneth Walker can give that to them. They need to give him 15, 20 touches a game, establish that they have a running game. Teams will have to come out of the shell. And if they come out of the shell, you're going to see Mahomes to Worthy light it up. After Kenneth Walker goes Devon Achane, Derrick Henry, Brock Bowers, A.J. Brown, George Pickens, Drake London, Nico Collins, Breece Hall. Pretty standard, except for Pickens going a little bit early. And I guess Hall has been on this turn all along. Sometimes you'll catch him coming kind of the mid third, but that's usually in those larger field, longer extending tournaments. In these time boxed max limit tournaments, people understand the value of Breece Hall and don't want to let him slip around. So the 212 isn't surprising for him. The third round starts out Rashee Rice, Devontae Smith, Garrett Wilson. That's early for him. Trey McBride, Jeremiah Love, Javonte Williams, Chris Olave, Kyron Williams. I'll go with Zay Flowers again. I have so much of them. But again, if Lamar falls to the 5-9, it's decision time. I might stack it again. I've been stacking Baltimore like crazy. It doesn't feel great having a lot of your money on one team, but if it's going to be any team, I would say Buffalo is equivalent there too, but Buffalo spreads the ball out so much that, the Ravens are very consolidated. So if they're crushing it, it's going to be your stacks, right? After Flowers goes Egbuka, Higgins, and McConkey. Then to start the fourth, we have Etienne again, Malik Neighbors. Ooh. I'm going to get my fourth round guy. I'm going to pass up wide receiver here and grab my Josh Jacobs. I like him in the fourth. And I haven't been able to get him in either one of these two drafts. Yes, he has the DV charges against him. And no, I'm not trying to condone that in any way, shape, or form. But I am playing a game here. And if the NFL doesn't suspend him, they have a lot more responsibility than I do playing fantasy football. Two Pugs, you have Baltimore Cincy stacks. I have the first Pug. What did I do? Baltimore and Denver was my first stack, and then you saw the last one. What was that? Green Bay and New England. That was a bit skinny. The first one, the Baltimore Denver stack, was thick. They're both heavily stacked, so that was fun. But we'll see. It's really tough to pass up Lamar at the 5-9, especially like the only other stack the last time I did it, there was that I had AJ Brown. So like, I kind of wish that I played the ADP game and see if I could have gotten him to come around the 6th or just go with the New England stack there. But we'll see. Like Dallas, where I'm hoping that Dak might make Dak's ADP is before 81, isn't it? No, Dak's ADP is at 81. So if I can get a Baltimore stack at 5-9 and maybe the Dallas stack at the 7-9, crossing my fingers. Usually in the 7th round, the George Pickens drafter gets him if the CeeDee Lamb drafter doesn't get him in the 6th. So we'll see. Crossing my fingers, hoping for the best. Let's The Pickens drafter, yeah, has no other stacks, so we probably won't be getting any quarterbacks. Anyway, after Josh Jacobs goes to Torrey McMillan, it was either him or Waddle hasn't gone. Ooh. Oh, I hope nobody's listening. Damn. Even if they're not listening, they're listening in spirit. I put it out there into the ether. He's not full. Oh, Lamar went too. All right. All right. Playing that game, are we? Playing that game. Oh, Colston Loveland. I don't really see Loveland fall this far either. I don't really want to go running back here, but I'm going to go with Tootin. Now, Travion Henderson is the pick there, but I'm trying to avoid stacking the same bye week. I definitely think Travion Henderson is the pick to go with there. And if I probably should have gone wide receiver, to tell you the truth, because I'm not going to get a wide receiver back. And I could have gotten Jadarian Price to come back, although Jadarian Price has the same bye week as Jacobs. Not that it's a huge deal. I honestly don't like starting out with 3 running backs in the first 5 rounds. I probably won't draft another until the last 2 or 3 rounds if I can avoid it. I would be tempted. There's a 9th round pick and a 12th round pick that will tempt me, but we'll see. I'm going to try to avoid running back for a while anyway. Just hoping a receiver comes back to me. Otherwise, you know what? I'll reach a little bit for a different receiver. Lamar, Dak, I'm hoping comes back. I'm not going to reach all that way for Dak. Just, I don't think that's worth it. Jadarian Price goes, so I'm actually going to, no, I'll go Jordan Tyson. I was thinking about going Marvin Harrison over Jordan Tyson. I have them like neck and neck, back to back. So I'll flip-flop the picks when it comes to them. And in this zone, I'm usually going quarterback, or if normally I let the 5th round running backs pass and grab a receiver there to kind of play it safe, or Lamar would have gone, I would have taken him. And usually in the 6th, it is a quarterback like Jaden Daniels. Like, so if I go a receiver in the 5th and none of the running backs that I really like, and actually, even if one of the running backs comes back, Jaden Daniels has been my normal pick there. I think Jaden Daniels is my most owned quarterback at 24, 25%. So I want to back off him a little bit. I really don't want to be over 20% on any quarterback. The scoring is just kind of too flat. And if you do 3 quarterback builds, you really don't need elite. And the ability to do 3 quarterback builds is starting to ease up. In the beginning of drafting, as I said, the 3 QB meta had them all pushed up. So getting 2 quarterbacks in the first 10 rounds was the way I was doing it, and I think the right way to do it. But now I've been like, literally yesterday, I think I was 50-50 on whether I went 2 quarterback or 3 quarterback while I was streaming. I think I did 4 drafts yesterday. Maybe it's just 3. But in the past couple of days, I've been bouncing back between the 2 QB and 3 QB builds. All right. So after my Jordan Tyson pick, I went Tyler Warren. The reason I ultimately went with Tyson over Harrison, even though I got Tyson last draft, is Harrison has the same bye week as CeeDee Lamb. Not that that's huge, but it kind of just gives me a little bit more wiggle room later if I want to, actually, it matters if I want to, if I'm able to get Dak here and do the Dallas stack, I'm also going to want Flournoy. And if I have three wide receivers with the same bye week, I kind of feel like I need 8 instead of 7. And this could end up being a 3 quarterback build. So I would have been a little bit handcuffed there. This just gives me a little bit of leeway to play with. After Harrison went Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Joe Burrow, Jalen Warren, Quentin Johnson, and Jalen Hurts to close out the 6th. We're 1 pick away. Please don't snipe me. It would just be rude. Don't be rude. There's plenty of other directions to go in. Thank you very much. I get my Dallas stack. I don't have as much of the Dallas stack as I would like, just because like it's CD Lamb and Dak line up by ADP, but a lot of times, as I said, the Pickens drafter will snag him before the Lamb drafter gets a chance. And then we see here Herbert and Lawrence go right after. I definitely like Herbert too. The only problem with Herbert Lawrence is their bye week is also like there's a lot of really good players with week 7 bye. It's Buffalo, Chargers, Jacksonville, and there's another good Washington. So like all our quarterbacks are gone, but it's like stacks and bringbacks are tough. All right, just kind of Tootin was a bad pick. I'm gonna pass up the running back there, and I'm gonna get another share of Cortland Sutton. Guess I'm just gonna do it. I don't think I had any Sutton before July, so this is kind of makeup time. But I have them in all 3 pugs, so maybe playing with fire in this one. But say lovey. There is a running back that was very tempting in this spot, but having 3 already, a little bit of overkill, as I said before. Probably don't want any until the very end, but there's a running back available in the 8th that is super tempting, and then there's one in the 9th that I will not turn down. But now I do have 4 wide receivers, so I'm feeling a little loosey-goosey, can go in any direction. I do like balanced builds. That's kind of why the 3rd running back in 5 rounds makes me feel a little bit puckered up, if you know what I mean. After Prescott, I said went Herbert and Lawrence, but Purdy goes early there. Now, I do have Purdy. There's one quarterback I have above Purdy, but I do think he is in that tier. He's like the last of the tier, but I do think Purdy is in that tier. And Purdy is probably my second owned quarterback, second most owned, right behind Jaden Daniels. So they're close. They're neck and neck at the top. They're definitely both within my top 3. And the 8th round, we go Ricky Purcell, Ramondre Stevenson, which is a running back that I kind of would have been tempted by. Not the running back I would have been tempted by, but a running back that is super tempting in the 8th. In fact, I like Ramondre in the 7th. I like him more than Hubbard. I like him more than Pollard. And I feel like he usually goes before Warren. Like, that's late for Ramondre. Maybe he starts to move down as new drafters come in. All right, Josh Downs goes after that. I take Sutton, Jordan Addison, and Chris Godwin go after Sutton. Then J.K. Dobbins, Blake Corum, Rico Dowdle, Michael Pittman, Kyle Monangai. Jonathan Brooks is my guy that I get in the 9th. I don't like getting him in the 8th. I loved getting him in the 14th and 15th early in draft season. Starting out the 9th goes Xavier Worthy, Laporta. RJ Harvey is the running back I was very tempted to grab in the 8th. Then Jacoby Myers, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford off the board. 2 more picks until it gets to me. Let me see. I got that. Maybe coming back. All right. So I'm looking at a couple tight ends here. Lining up that way for me. Oh, Bo Nix goes. I was really hoping to actually get him to come back in the 10th by ADP. It said uh, by ADP he should have, and then Goff goes. Wow, we're seeing a quarterback run. I am still going to go. I'm going to go Harold Fannin. My decision. I was considering Pitts, but I'll go Fannin there just because he's the one that's been falling. Really, no other reason. Jackson Dart goes. Just thinking about, do I grab a quarterback? I like Kyler Murray and Jordan Love. They're the next in ADP, but they're not really good back stacks. Like Jordan Love, Matthew Golden will go. Actually, I was surprised it didn't go Golden and Love at that turn. And I don't have any Green Bay receivers or tight end, and there's nothing after Golden. So not going to go Jordan Love. I know what I'm going to do. Rashad White here is tempting, but as I said, I want to kind of avoid running back. It's a little early for George Kittle. Thank you for taking Michael Wilson. I wouldn't have grabbed him anyway because of his bye. Golden is the next wide receiver by ADP, but I'm going to skip him, as I said, because I'm looking for somebody I can actually backstack. So I'm looking at if Cam Ward. I'm going to say if Cam Ward makes it. I'll be tempted at 11-9 by Cam Ward, but I'll say if he drops to the 12th, I'll probably get him. I don't think that's a value pick by any stretch of the imagination. I do think Wan'Dale Robinson is a decent pick, but probably around early. It feels like ADPs have consolidated so much that grabbing values anymore is just kind of player takey. I don't have any Tyler Shuck. He's being drafted too early. Just to kind of go over after my Fannin pick went Jackson Dart, Kyle Pitts, and Kenny Gainwell closed out the 9th. The 10th round went Kyler Murray, George Kittle. That's early for George Kittle. Michael Wilson. I went Wan'Dale Robinson, reaching a few spots, but no big deal. Jordan Love goes after that. Then Jordan Mason, Jaden Higgins, Travis Kelce, Matthew Golden. Just out of curiosity, did that Love drafter have? Yeah, he had Jaden Reed. After Matthew Golden goes Ja'Cory Krusky-Merritt, otherwise known as Bill. Rashad White goes after Bill. Had I not had 3 running backs already, I would have drafted Rashad White there. Then Dallas Goedert goes after that. Start out the 11th, we see Malik Willis and Tyler Shuck. Then Mark Andrews goes. So in my previous drafts where I had Baltimore stacked, or my draft yesterday where I had Baltimore stacked, I reached. Oh no, Andrews fell to me in that one. I reached for Kelce because I had Mahomes, and then set up Mark Andrews here in the 11th. See a couple wide receivers and Aaron Jones come off the board. Can backstack him, but hold on. I have somebody else in mind. Probably shouldn't reach. I do have 5 wide receivers. Kincaid goes. Oh, I need Jake Ferguson. Get that tight end stack with Dallas. So Dallas is now double stacked. And I have 2 tight ends, so I can kind of back off that for a while, or maybe back. Mayfield was on my radar. You can backstack him, although it's not a strong backstack. I prefer to have Godwin or Igbuka, and I don't get much Igbuka. I just think his price is a little too high. There's a running back that's going to tempt me in this round that I've talked about in my previous 2 drafts, but I don't know if he fits the. Ooh, he does fit this team build. Here's the thing. Like, I gotta get a quarterback because even I'm gonna get Cam Ward. It's gonna kill me. Um, the other two quarterbacks I like in this round, CJ Stroud and Sam Darnold, they're gonna go before it comes back to me in the 13th. And so is the running back I like, but I already have 3 running backs. It isn't necessary that I grab him. There's no chance he's going to come back to me. He's probably going to go with the next pick. And Cam Ward, I already got Wandell, and I can still backstack him with a double stack. Although he's not a strong enough pick that I feel totally comfy just going 2 quarterbacks, Dak and Cam. We'll see what happens in the 18th round. If I have anything lined up by then, it would have to. So there's a couple things I can do. I have 5 wide receivers, 3 running backs, 2 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks. I can kind of go in any direction. I'll probably look wide receiver. So there goes after my Cam Ward went Travis Hunter, Omar Cooper, Chigakonkwo, and Tyrone Tracy as the running back. Would have fit perfectly with this team because the Giants are a bring back to Dallas. But I went with the straight stack. And I do think Cam Ward's going to have a bounce back year. I probably have too much of them. But with going Wandale, that was the whole premise. I guess I could have gone Higgins because I do feel more comfortable with the Houston stack. Or like if I didn't go Wandale, if I went, I don't know, another direction, I would have grabbed a presently naked Stroud because I love his back stack super late. But anyway, where were we? Tracy, after Tracy went Jalen McMillan, Brenton Strange. That's early for Strange, I feel. Maybe not that early. Sam Darnold and Keaton Mitchell. Then the 13th round starts out CJ Stroud, Daniel Jones, Juwan Jennings, Woody Marks, Hunter Henry, Isaiah Pacheco, Denzel Boston. Moaning around here, thinking. The guy in front of me timed out, but it's not coming to me. There we go. He goes Bryce Young. I'm going to reach a little bit, just secure Ryan Flournoy. I'm thinking that's 6 wide receivers. I'm looking at something else I might be able to backstack. Though I don't particularly, nothing's screaming out at me as a good pick here. You see Gadsden, Naylor. Naylor was the other wide receiver I was considering because I can backstack him, but I would have had to. I think Mendoza is like a 15th round pick, and I would prefer the option of being able to get a later quarterback than that. Just looking at my squad with Trey Tucker was the other option there. Thought maybe one of the two. I might grab a running back here, although I'm not crazy about the running backs here either. Wow, I really don't like anything here. Should I just... Well, I have a ton of them. I'm going to have... Oh, no. I'll just go Jonah Coleman. It's a 4th running back. I'm definitely going to close it out until the 17th or 18th. I'll grab one more running back, but it'll be with my last 2 picks. Jonah Coleman's in a zone where And I would have gone with a tight end that has a back stack here, but I'm eyeing up another tight end when it comes back in the 15th or 16th. And there is a wide receiver, or there's two wide receivers available that would open up a back stack there. So a couple. We'll see. We'll see what falls. Probably none of it. But so in the 14th, before my pick, starts out Trey Tucker, Tajay Spears, Trey Harris. I take Jonah Coleman. He is, I think, like my fifth most owned running back at like 20 something percent. I don't hate the pick. It's just like in this zone, I don't think Spears is going to, I don't think Spears' knees are NFL knees. Bigsby, I think, is pure contingent, and I think Saquon's going to have a great year. The other tight end I was thinking was Kenyon Sadiq, and I could backstack him nicely with Geno. But there's another tight end that I want to get later, and I'm not saying names because I don't know quite. There's not many people watching, but the most likely people watching are the ones that are in the draft. If you're watching and you're not, or if you're watching and you are in the draft, just give me the heads up. Geno Smith goes anyway, so I would not have been able to backstack that, so avoided frustration there. So after that Bigsby pick, which followed mine, went Juwan Johnson, Deshaun Stribling, Deebo Samuel. Both Stribling and Samuel are wide receivers I have a lot of, but I usually throw Stribling into stacks and Deebo when I'm already secure kind of with stacks and at the position. After Sadiq went Rodgers, Tesla, and Schultz to close out the 14th. The 15th round starts with Adonai Mitchell, which would have been a potential pick to backstack with Geno, but that Jet stack is getting blown up because all of them, people are starting to see the value in that stack or those players. So there's Jerry Jeudy was actually one of the wide receivers I could hope I could grab with the back stack. I'm going to grab Gunnar Helm to stack with Cam Ward for the full Tennessee double. Can kind of I can definitely lock out tight end there. I'm not going to grab Calvin Ridley as part of that stack. Okay. All right, Ryan. If my girl texts me in the middle of that draft, though, I'm paying attention to the text. She's busy working, though, so you're probably safe. All right. So after my Gunnar Helm went Malik Washington, Fernando Mendoza. So if I wanted to do that Vegas stack, I probably would have grabbed Helm in the 15th anyway. Probably would have been disappointed in that. So things are falling a little bit into place. I'm going to grab Zachariah Branch here. It does leave me open for an Atlanta stack if I want to do that in the 18th. I will not do it in the 17th. The 17th round, I have earmarked at running back. Do I have 7 wide receivers now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. I got 2 double stacks, Dallas and Tennessee. I have an option of another skinny stack in Atlanta just because I like Cam Ward. So bottom line is this. If your 3 QBs give you a boost not only in the regular season but in the playoffs, because you could use 3 different QBs in 3 different weeks, seeing that it's a 3-week playoff. But week 15 and 16 aren't really a gauntlet in this. Actually, last year, my uh, most advancing team might have been in this pug. And I had three QBs that were all out during weeks 15 and 16, but still made the finals with no quarterback in any week. So I guess I should learn from that and just go with two and get another position player. But I don't know how I feel. I don't feel very secure with Ward. And there's been studies that, three QBs is optimal, but that ended up pushing. Everybody heard that study that was drafting in May and June and earlier, and it pushed all the quarterbacks up to a point where two QBs actually became optimal. Because when they did that study of the three QBs, the optimality, I don't know if that's a word, but it became optimal when your third QB was taken in the 16th round or later. And you didn't, it didn't matter whether you had, it depended on the draft capital at that position. And this would pace out as a solid three QB team if I get one here in the 17th or 18th. But even if I got one in like the 15th, it would have been fine. But as the earlier you draft QB, the less optimal a third QB becomes. Because if your first two QBs are, among the top 12, your third QB might squeeze in 1 week. And the chances of that happening during the playoffs, I guess, are higher than they're lower during the regular season because there's only 3 playoff weeks, right? Anyway, I'm rambling. I need to pick a player. Do I have any running back? Yeah, I have Jacobs, so I'm not going to get Marshawn Lloyd. And the other running backs I actually like are gone. Do I have... I'm just checking my bye week. So I got Tootin. I actually shouldn't scroll that. I should scroll this, right? The other 2 running backs I like have the same bye week. I'll just grab Ray Davis. I don't have a ton of them. I do think he not only has great contingency upside, Tua goes, but you know what? That doesn't really matter because the likelihood of Tua. Do I have any Cleveland players? I do have Harold Fannin. So Shador or Penix? What do you guys think? Shador or Penix? And actually, all right. I was going to say if those were his only 3 QBs, he should go 4th with Penix. I think there's a chance Tua holds that job. I do not think there's any chance Watson holds his. I'm going to grab Shador and just stack him with Harold Fannin. In fact, where I got Zachariah Branch, I was hoping that Jerry Jeudy was actually going to fall, but he went before my helm pick. So Zachariah Branch probably isn't the greatest pick in the 16th, seeing that I didn't stack him. I've forgotten I had Harold Fannin, and I like that stack. Shador may not be starting in the playoffs, but I do think he provides a floor in the weeks he does play. I do think Cleveland's offense, as I said earlier, yes, Tua has that's exactly why I was setting it up with Zachariah Branch, right? Like that was my thought process. Is I prefer to do it with London or Pitts, and technically speaking, I was like torn between Fannin and Pitts in that 9th round, if you remember. So if I had gotten Pitts, I would have been pissed at that Tua drafter because that's his 4th quarterback. He had Lawrence early. So, and as I was saying, like with Lawrence early, 4 quarterbacks is redundant, even though the most redundant I think there is Brissett. I'm not sure if Brissett starts at all. He's holding out for another contract. He did report to, OTAs for like the last day of it or something. I I don't think he has a stronghold on that position because they can go peace out. We'll go with Minshew for a couple weeks until we get the rookie up to speed. Um, yeah, if I get London or Pitts, I love Tua in the last round, depending on my quarterbacks. I talk that through though. But I don't mind Shador here either because I do think Shador will get his opportunity. And now that he has some receivers to throw to, he might be able to hold on to a job. And I definitely I think Tua is good enough to hold that job, and I think Atlanta is good enough that they'll have a decent enough record. Remember, they almost made the playoffs with an 8-9 record last year, so they could probably repeat that or even do better with Tua this year. They probably want to get Penix in, and they went out and got Tua because he's a lefty, just like Penix. They're pattern matching so that when they go to Penix, it'll be a smooth transition. Because if you ask any receiver, the difference between a righty and a lefty is night and day. Like you need a week to practice at least, but a whole preseason of practicing from a lefty and it stays a lefty is what they were looking for with that. All right, so I will, at the request of Ryan here, I will do a fast puppy. They tend to fill quick. All right. So Ryan, are you paying attention? There's a 7-second delay between. Yeah, give me 1 second. So I want to make sure you get in this, so we're not, you're not missing the streamer's draft. When a streamer goes to join a draft, there's a 7-second delay between when he clicks and you see him clicking, or when he says go and you actually hear him say go. So I am going to say join now, join now, and I'll wait a few seconds and then I will jump in so that we're all jumping in at the same time. There's 7 open spots. Jump in, jump in, jump in, jump in, jump in. Okay, it's not filling that quick. So everybody should be able to jump in. Cleveland will be chaos. Losing Garrett will cripple the defense, which is exactly what I was saying earlier, that a crippled defense is going to make the offense, there's going to be more shootouts. I certainly hope it's a weaker defense and they will be throwing the ball a whole lot more. Actually, I hope they run a lot too, because I have a ton of Quinshon Judkins, but I probably have just as much Dylan Sampson. And I just think that offense is going to have to operate on all cylinders. And I think Deshaun Watson is cooked and, he's beyond disgusting. So, even if he plays well, there's going to be backlash and they're not going to win, right? There's no way they're going to win without a defense. So they might give him a few games to see if they could chop him, or to just prove that he absolutely sucks, or just even if he doesn't suck, just say you're not winning, so we're going to go in a different direction. That's why I just think Shador is going to be in at the end of the season. They're going to give I'm Wheeler on UD. What's yours? Oh no. I hope you got in this one. I'm in the 11 hole. We got Dirty Milkers, Richer Rich, your favorite, A1 Drew, Methro something or other, Go Blue, Dame Start, Gridiron Mind, Fredo, Jake, D Camel. All right, which one are you, Ryan? I'm not matching the name. Ooh, Jamar Chase goes at 101. Of course, when you get Jamar Chase at 101, I'm never the 102 or 103. Jahmyr Gibbs is the 1-2. Bijan the 1-3. That's my call anyway. Your favorite must be a crowd favorite. He's going to time out too. Dirty Milkers. I like that name. Oh, you went with Chase at the 1-1. All right. That's bold. That's bold. But, get your guy. I think, well, I mean, besides the fact that Gibbs and Bijan can break fantasy, I mean, I guess so can Chase. But at that 2-3 turn, I do like the wide receivers. There is Brees Hall. So you would probably, if I were you, I'd be focused on some Brees Hall. But other than that, the running backs to me are a little bit shaky there. All right, so I got to get it back in the mentality. Damn. I'll grab Justin Jefferson. I mean, I shouldn't complain about Justin Jefferson. I just think Ginty is going to be a top 3 running back this year. Like next year, the top 3 will be Gibbs, Bijan, and Ginty, in my opinion, or my best guesstimation. AJ Brown at the 112. It doesn't totally surprise me, especially like in this format. Thank you for taking Hampton. I enjoy Barkley a lot. I think we're going to see Barkley come back to form. Barkley is one of those like Barkley. I don't want to say every other year guy because it's not technically every other year, but last year, I mean, besides all the on-field stuff kind of going backwards with the offensive coordinator and the offensive line not doing well and AJ Brown putting up a stink and just everything kind of chaotically going on there. The year before he got like 400 touches or close to that. So Barkley is one of those, like Derrick Henry can have 400 touches a year and it doesn't affect him. And I think what's having me back off McCaffrey a bit this year is that he had so many touches last year. But my thing with McCaffrey is if everybody's healthy, they will not use him in the beginning of the season like they did at the beginning of the season last year. That I would hope they're going to save him for that end of the season run if they can. But everybody got injured on San Francisco last year, so they just fed him the damn ball. They probably should have backed off him, but I don't get paid millions either, so the decision makers do. But I'm not surprised at that AJ Brown at the 112. I mean, I probably would have done it at the 2.1 and gotten Barkley in the first round. But I could see him going earlier because like the wide receiver, the wide receivers, I think are going to start to get pushed up because there are people entering drafts now that saw the meta last year of that wide receiver avalanche that haven't seen this like boomer old school running back run in the first 3 rounds. Like we kind of really haven't seen on in any real format besides FFPC, maybe NFFC. Not in this format. Like this is kind of how it should be. And actually, Brees Hall should. Ooh, you're going when all wide receiver. You're going 0 RB there, huh? And that's a little early on Egbuka. He's getting pushed up though, and there's a lot of hype on him around mainstream media. Most of the streamers I listen to anyway, and me have Egbuka as a late 3rd, 4th round pick in rankings. All right, so I got I'll go Etienne here. I haven't drafted him in a while. I saw he's gone at the 4.1 in the past couple drafts, but the difference between 3.11 and 4.2 is kind of negligible. And I do see a couple wide receivers that I totally expect to come back. I'm kind of torn here. I'm going to go with Tet. I do have him ranked 1 spot higher than Jalen Waddle. and I went with Waddle earlier, and I haven't gotten Tet yet today. So, well, not on stream. I've drafted. I did what? I did one fast draft of something earlier, and then I've just been doing slow drafts like every few hours, trying to do some. Actually, I didn't get any football research done today. I've been doing research and putting up articles for another site I'm going to open up, but I'll keep that under wraps for now. Anyway, all right. So I got to rambling and talking. I will go back to my Barkley pick and just go over the second round. James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown, Derrick Henry, Brock Bowers, Drake London, Devon Achane. Jeremiah Love goes a little bit earlier in this one. He was going in like the mid-third in those pub drafts. Nico Collins. Then we see Rashee Rice and Agbuk at the turn. One hold, 30 milkers Ryan here going with the 0 RB build. I like it. I usually do something similar when I'm in the 3 or 4 hole. Although in the 4 hole, you tend to get like Bowers and Brees Hall. Sometimes you can, grab in the second and third. But I tend to wait until I'm in the 3 or 4 hole to build, or sometimes with JSN or ARSB, I can do that. But like it, I'm going to be interested in how that turns out. Then we see Pickens and Devontae Smith go after that. McBride at 3-4, Brees Hall at 3-5. I definitely would have taken him at the 2-3 turn, but Brees Hall is just a real my guy. Then we see Olave, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, Lad McConkey, Kyron Williams, Travis Etienne, and Malik Neighbors close out the third. The fourth round is Garrett Wilson, Torrey McMillan, Terry McLaurin, Luther Burden, Josh Allen. Ooh, that's a strong squad in that 8 hole. Jalen Waddle goes at 4-6. Then Javonte Williams, Josh Jacobs at the 4-8, sliding far. Mike Evans, Scam Catabust, David Montgomery. Then the Chase drafter stacks Burrow. I'm going to give you the heads up. You probably could have stacked them in that end of the 6th round. He falls that far when the Higgins drafter lets him go. And the Higgins drafter, yeah, you might have gotten stuck in the 6th with the Higgins drafter getting him. Sometimes the Higgins drafter has another wide receiver they took that you can see they'll glance over. But I can see why you wanted to get Burrow there, not thinking he would come back to the 6-12. But just to give you the heads up, I've seen him far more this year than we did last year. Like all last year, I was saying he should go in the late 6th. But meanwhile, he was going at this 4 or 5 turn or somewhere in the 5th. He ends up going, yeah, but a lot of times he falls, and it depends. Like if you're only gonna, let me focus here. If you're only doing a few drafts, you go ahead and get your guy and you stack your team and you do your thing. I started to count yesterday, including the slow drafts. I'm at 400. I think without the slow drafts, I'm at 330 or so. Shoot. All right. No, I'm going to go with the wide receiver. I almost went Bucky Irvin there. Drafting him early left a bad taste in my mouth. And Bucky, this is a price I'm willing to pay for Bucky. I just noticed that he has the same bye week as Barkley. So I remember the last draft, I was kind of kicking myself for having 3 early running backs. I love 2 early running backs, but there's I love grabbing 1 or 2 in that 10 to 12 round range, and then super late, there's a couple I like. there's a couple I like to kind of pick my spots, and if I get a running back there, I not only feel kind of behind at wide receiver, but just like jammed uh, without options. I don't feel free flowing. Um, I don't think there's any way that Caleb Williams comes back to me though. So maybe Odunze there wasn't the best pick, but yeah, probably points wise, I think he's definitely ahead. Odunze I see is the last of whatever tier the Watson, Tate, DJ Moore is. Uh, Quentin Johnson, I guess. Well, Quentin Johnson, I don't see as part of that tier. Jordan Tyson and Marvin Harrison could probably actually be the end of that tier, but I don't see Parker Washington. The Quentin Johnson and Parker Washington are being drafted probably like 2 rounds too early, 2 or 3 rounds too early. I think they're fine in the eighth. I would love Quentin and in fact, Quentin Johnson was going in the 9th and 10th round earlier in draft season. Parker Washington's just been way too high. If everybody's healthy, he's the third option at best. At best. All right. So after Dunze went Bucky Irvin, Quentin Johnson, Jordan Tyson, Jadarian Price, Parker Washington, Marvin Harrison, Tyler Warren. Ooh, double tight end stack there. Good luck with that. Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels at the 6'11". Then my man, Dirty Milkers Ryan here goes RJ Harvey and Patrick Mahomes. Then we see Tony Pollard, Malik Lemon, Caleb Williams, Jalen Warren, Trevor Lawrence, Cortland Sutton. What am I looking at here? I don't really have any stacks at this turn, so I might I'll take Ramondre at the end of the 7th. I like that value. Yeah, I was talking about I don't want to get jammed up. That's the thing. Not getting a Bucky left me open for Ramondre. And I'm going to try to get slick and grab Jordan Addison. It should theoretically back everybody off of Kyler Murray, and I'll be able to get him at the next turn. We'll see though. But so far, 5 wide receiver, 3 running back. Gotta make the. I'll be picking quarterback and tight end for a while. Although I know there's going to be. I don't know. There's going to be if one of the running backs that I love falls to the 9th. I haven't been able to draft him today. So Chuba Hubbard falling to the 8th. All of a sudden, he's this is the value. This is where he belongs. I will start getting some Chuba. I think I have 1 Chuba share when he fell to the 8th out of the clear blue sky. But this is, I think, where he belongs. Chuba belongs with Monangai and Corum. Although there is another running back that I think should be at the top of that tier, I'll say. All right. I'm just going to start queuing up some guys. After my Jordan Addison pick, actually before my Jordan Addison pick went Tucker Kraft. I thought Kraft would come back. I was hoping he would come back. That would have gone nicely with my Christian Watson. I would have sat on a Jordan Love stack there. But I went with Addison, and I'll be sitting on a Kyler Murray stack. Just want to. Kyler will be a little bit of a reach when he comes back, but that's okay. I guess around the turn. I'll see if he makes it around the turn. All right. So actually, I don't want a receiver at this turn. I could get a tight end. Don't have a ton of options beyond that. Hmm. All right, I'm gonna need something to fall to me. So after my Addison, did I stopped at Chuba? I probably stopped at well after Addison went Godwin, Prescott, Chuba Hubbard, Josh Downs, Kyle Monongai, Brock Purdy, Blake Corum, Ricky Purcell, Rico Dowdle, Sam Laporta. I thought actually he might fall all the way, but nope. Rashad White starts out the ninth, followed by Michael Wilson, Xavier Worthy, Matt Stafford, Jared Goff, Jackson Dart, J.K. Dobbins. And we're at the 9-8, 3 picks until mine. Let's see. Laporta, I like that pick. Rashad White, I like that pick too. There, Ryan. Damn. Harold Fanning goes. Jonathan Brooks was the running back I was hoping would come to me. I'm going to snag myself some Kyle Pitts. I talked about, so I don't have any quarterbacks through 9 rounds. I am going to, you know what? I should have actually looked Jordan Love there. I still had the Watson stack there. Not getting Jordan Love was a little bit of a mistake. But I am going to go Kyler Murray either way because I do have him double stacked already. And, Minnesota should be much improved, even with, the running quarterback there. I'm not sure double stack is the wisest thing, but why not? Got to shoot the moon. And, in that offense, it looked horrible last year, but the quarterback play was horrible last year. Get an average or better, an average quarterback with incredible running ability. That offense could take off. All right. So after my Murray pick goes Jordan Love. And as I said, I probably should have gone, Kyler Murray to start. And then, I would have gone Jordan Love first because the guy at the turn already got Tucker Kraft. I thought he was going to stack him. Kyle Pitts isn't a bad pick. I definitely like the pick. It's just that stacking 2 quarterbacks there would have made me feel warm and cozy. And then I could have done a Jets or Cleveland or something stack later. As it is, I'm looking at the possibility of a Carolina stack, which doesn't really do a whole lot for me. Maybe I'll grab a receiver that I can backstack later. Those are my options right now. All right. All right, after Murray went Jordan Love, then Kenny Gainwell, Jacoby Myers, Bo Nix, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jordan Mason, Matthew Golden, Travis Kelce, Baker Mayfield, and Ryan takes JCM at the turn, kind of that stack cuff I was talking about with Rashad White. I brought up the stack cuff last draft. That's an example of it. One of the two should excel, if not both of them, in the same game. They definitely have different roles. And then he starts out with Trey Tucker in the 11th, followed by Kevin Concepcion, Malik Willis, Aaron Jones, Khalil Shakir, Likely, Andrews, Tyler Shuck, Dalton Kincaid. All right. Minnesota's my only stack there. Got something on the bring back. All right, I'm going to go next in ADP, Jaden Higgins. I can backstack him. I would have to do it almost immediately, though, wouldn't I? Yeah, I'm not going to do it immediately. Shoot. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to go with Tyrone Tracy. As I said, just want to get more of them. It's a 4th running back pretty early. Leave that last round go from there. Cam Ward is a pick that I could have go. Really, CJ Stroud. Like, I don't think there's any way on earth he comes back to me, but I would like him to. That was the idea. The Jaden Higgins pick probably should have gone Stroud there at the 12-2, but we'll see how this turns out. This way, I really don't need another running back. Although, if there's a faller, I don't really want to grab it that way either. All right, Houston, Atlanta. Passed up some decent tight ends. I guess Ferguson is like, I only get him in Dallas stacks. Chigakonkwo is a guy I like. But actually, I'm going to take running back out of my ranking, so I'm not tempted by them. Thinking. Cam Ward goes. Baker's long gone. After Cam Ward went Rashid Shaheed, Jalen Coker, Dallas Goedert, Sam Darnold, Omar Cooper, Keaton Mitchell, Jake Ferguson. And then we're coming to the end of the 12th here. Go ahead, take TJ. That's fine. I'm not going to draft him anyway. I think he's dust. Just my opinion. Like, if TJ falls to the 16th round, I'll be tempted. If there's anything I would say is that ADPs are pretty tight, and they will come back to you. Being on the turns, that you don't need to reach the 20-something picks. Like Fernando Mendoza would have been around in that 14th, 15th, not 98% of the time. He would have been around there. I do like the Algier pick. I have a ton of Algier because he just falls to a spot where it's like, yeah, why not? Like, he just kind of falls in my lap a lot. Before Mendoza went Chig, and after to start the 13th, we see Tyler Algier, Brenton Strange, Jalen McMillan, Isaiah Pacheco. I know it's going to happen. The guy I want's going to get snagged right before my pick, as per usual, but might do a little reach in and just get my guy and another guy, and then go from there. After Pacheco goes Gadsden, Naylor, Denzel Boston. Actually had him in queue as well. All right. Guys are making it tough on me here. Trying to backstack something. You're not letting me. Travis Hunter is a guy I probably would have grabbed regardless of the ability to stack or not. I just think he has immense upside. Yeah. Either y'all are listening and just like me a lot and left me some Stroud. Appreciate it. Like, if that's what you're doing, I really do appreciate that. I love getting Stroud. I like getting Stroud in the 12th. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and just, it's not really a reach by ADP, but I think of it as a little bit of a reach. Grab Bryce Young. It stacks with Tatori McMillan. I have 3 quarterbacks. I'm done at that position. So I did kind of push the 3 quarterback meta. Technically speaking, like, Bryce Young should have been a 16th, 17th, 18th round pick, but he is definitely being pushed up. He definitely would not have come back to me. He was 2 spots in ADP away. I already have Tatori McMillan. I've probably a lot more invested in quarterback than I should, technically. Well, not a lot more, a little bit more. So I'm kind of pushing the boundaries of like when you should draft your 3 quarterback, but I don't hate it. With Kyler double stacked, Stroud stacked, and I'm going to be able to easily double stack him later. Bryce Young stacked with his primary to Torrey McMillan. Quarterback room, neat, nice, done. I can actually, well, I don't need to go there. All right, just queuing up some guys. And I had a Jets stack queued up too. If Stroud didn't come to me, I would have gotten Kenyon Sadiq and Bryce Young there. Kenyon Sadiq would have set up a Jet stack later. I always hope that Adonai Mitchell falls to the 15th round, but he's really climbed up. He's gone from undrafted to a 14th round pick. Grabbing and notice actually I'll go through the 14th round. So actually after Stroud at the turn went Juwan Jennings and Zach Charbonnet. I grabbed Bryce Young, and then I see Tajay Spears, Ryan Flournoy, Jawan Johnson, Hunter Henry, Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson was a running back I like. Dejon Stribling, Trey Harris, Tank Bigsby, Antonio Williams, and then Ryan goes with TJ Hawkinson and Darnell Mooney at the 14-15 turn. Then we see AJ Barner, Greg Dulcich, Kenyon Sadiq, Alvin Kamara, Zachariah Branch goes at the 15.6. Who am I going to grab here? I can just kind of pick guys I like. Can I? I have 4 running backs, 6 wide receiver. I need tight end. 1 more tight end, and then 2 more tight ends, and then Schultz went sugar. All right. And then Debo goes. Okay. Y'all messing with my mind now. You gave it to me before, and now you're taking it away. All right, I'll go Gunnar Helm here. I expect him to be heavily targeted this year. And guy at the turn goes Geno Smith. So I probably would have gotten Geno at 15-11 to secure that stack had I gone with the Jet stack. And then he grabs Tank Dell, who is clearly going to be, my 17th round pick, because I'm going to grab Terrence Ferguson here. Young doesn't have a tight end stack. I missed Stroud. Stroud's stack, Schultz for the Houston stack. And then I got snagged on a Houston stack with Tank Dell, but I do have other tricks up my sleeve. I'm done at tight end. My choice is going to be, I'm definitely going to get 1 more wide receiver. Decision whether it's 2 wide receivers. Depends on who's available. Depends on what running backs are actually available too. Just queuing up some guys before the turn comes back. I might do a fun last round pick if the guy I actually want doesn't make it back, and he probably won't. And if the guy that I think is a huge value goes because he's starting to, I just want to queue it up just so I don't miss it if all else fails. All right. So after my T-Ferg pick, T-Ferg and Kyle Pitts have the same bye week. That's all right. Gunnar Helm he'll nut out week 11. After my T-Ferg pick goes Kate Otten, Pat Freiermuth, Brian Robinson, Dontavian Wicks, Emmett Johnson, Calvin Ridley, Malik Washington, Isaac Tesla, Sean Tucker, Kamani Vidal. I think Kamani Vidal is underdrafted. I like that. And then Elijah Surratt in the 17th, or starts the 17th. Then we see Tua and Adonai Mitchell. Adnan Mitchell, I feel like went in like much earlier last draft because I was talking or I was thinking about a jet stack and like he disappeared long before I was able to even consider him. After Mitchell, we see Jeremy Bernard. I need to get more Jeremy Bernard. He just never fits in with any of my stacks or bringbacks. He should, seeing that I grab Cleveland, but I close out with Cleveland before I even think about like Pittsburgh, or I'm grabbing uh, Jerry Judy sometimes falls this late, or at least goes in the same vicinity as Bernard. And then we see Michael Penix. Wow, quarterbacks. Those late round quarterbacks are disappearing. Pat Bryant was one of the wide receivers I was really hoping would come to me. Actually, I'm glad he didn't because I'm going to want to go with a stack. But I'm going to grab Jaden Blue as my 5th running back. Actually, I could have gone Marshawn Lloyd there. I should have gone Marshawn Lloyd there because I've been getting Blue a lot. And, well, Marshawn Lloyd could be a complete bust and injured again. What are you going to do here? You're going to take my... So I'm going to go with Jalen Noel as part of that Houston stack. But if he had been taken, I actually was going to go Xavier Hutchinson because the Houston coaches love Xavier Hutchinson, and he will be used. He will disrupt the Jaden Higgins, but just Jalen Noel should completely take over the Christian Kirk role that's vacated from last year. I'm surprised he didn't last year. Probably has more to do with the team overall. Well, no, they were excellent. They won. Maybe I should back off him and just go with Xavier Hutchinson when I do my Houston stacks. I will keep that in consideration. All right, so my draft went Justin Jefferson, Saquon Barkley, Travis Etienne, Tatori McMillan, Christian Watson, Rome Odunze, Ramondre Stevenson, Jordan Addison, Kyle Pitts, Kyler Murray, Jaden Higgins, Tyrone Tracy, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Gunnar Helm, Terrence Ferguson, Jaden Blue, and Jalen Noel. You know what I didn't do? I do have a bring back for Houston. I don't have a bring back for Carolina. That would be Seattle. And I didn't get a Jets bring back for Minnesota. Oh, well, didn't plan that out perfectly. I do like Marvin Mims. I had a bunch of Mims pre-draft. I think Mims is a fantastic best ball pick. Super high upside, probably give you 3 weeks where he goes in your lineup. And those 3 weeks could be big. I mean, he's going to be involved on special teams, and then, he'll get. There'll be a couple weeks just out of the blue. Marvin Mims is a perfect best ball pick. I would never get him in redraft because you never know when to start him. But I was in the 9th hole, panicked, and took Coleman instead of an earlier tight end. Coleman. Not Keon. Grade your team. I'm trying. I'm sorry, Longoria. I thought you were Ryan. Grade your team, Ryan. So I think you reached quite a bit. Like, don't get me wrong. Chase at 1-1, perfect. No problem with that whatsoever. Rashee Rice, great pick. I think there's a reach on Egbuka. Yes, there's no way he would have come back to you. I personally would have gone Breece Hall. Joe Burrow, I think Joe Burrow literally had a 50-50 chance of coming back to you. It's really just if the Higgins drafter comes, I understand you want to get your guy. Swift, I don't have a lot of, but I think he is a absolutely fine fifth round pick. If that's your guy, you get him. Harvey has been going in the eighth, but you're right. There's very little likelihood he would have come back to you at the 8-12. And if you like Harvey, you go get it. Mahomes, do you stack Mahomes at all? Not stacking Mahomes at all. It's kind of like point off. I definitely like. Oh no! You have Rashee Rice. No, that's absolutely fine. Good pick. He also could have come back. Mahomes is going in the eighth round generally. I definitely. I want to say I got him in the ninth round of last draft. I think I got him at the 9-8 or 9-9 in a draft today. Just to make you aware, like the ADPs are pretty accurate. And remember, half the people are taking that player later and half are taking it earlier. So like, yeah, I'm on Dirty Milkers, right? Yeah. All right. And then, okay, so I do like Laporta pick. I think he's going to have a great year. Their offensive coordinator has a history. Their new offensive coordinator has a history of targeting tight end. He's had some good tight ends, but regardless, he knows how to utilize the tight end. Then you went with the Washington stack cuff there at running back. Trey Tucker is a wide receiver I don't have a lot of, but I need to get more of. You stacked him with Mendoza. Again, I think you could have gotten Mendoza at the next turn, but you wanted to secure that stack. I would also say this. You didn't need a third quarterback in this. With Burrow and Mahomes, I would have gone just two quarterbacks. I do understand the desire for a third stack, but again, like that third quarterback, if you're going to take three quarterbacks, the third one should be like, I want to say 16th or later. Being at the turn there, I could see 15th or later. And I do think you could have gotten Mendoza at that 14-15 turn if you wanted him. I don't think you needed a third quarterback at all with Mahomes and Burrow, though. And then Tyler Algier, I have a ton of. I talked about that one. Hawkinson, again, I think he's dust. I like if he was at this 15-16 turn for me, I would have gotten him there. So he wouldn't have come back to you. But I don't think you're gonna like that pick, especially with only two tight ends there. Then Darrell Mooney, again, I think you could have gotten him much later. Kamani Vidal, you could have gotten Vidal later too. Although 16-17 turn, you probably knew you were going to get Mims at that last pick or had your eye on him. And I don't think Vidal is a bad pick. He is the backup. He's a contingency back that might have some usage, but he's pretty much pure contingency. Surratt, I have a ton of, but I really only grab him in Baltimore stacks. And then we talked about Mims. I'll give it a C plus. Just I don't see many, if any ADP values, and that's really getting ADP value, whether it's in draft or closing line, is probably the most important thing in all of these. Like, yeah, I know Burrow stacks Chase. That's great. I'm just when you reach 20 some odd picks for a stack, like that Burrow stack, I'm not going to blame you for that. Like you wanted to make sure you had it. Go for it. You get yours. But when you like reach on both of these stacks, a third quarterback to me is out of the question. I also, yeah, and that's probably like the third quarterback, and this is a downgrade, and two tight ends is a little bit of a downgrade. I'm not crazy about your running backs, although they're not bad backs. I think there's a lot of reaching for not a lot of reason. That's my value. I hate to be critical. I'm trying to be, I try to be complimentary, but I kind of, it's, I'm a teacher. I evaluate. So it's like, oh, team nine. Where do we got? CD Lamb, Kenneth Walker, Lad McConkey. Actually, I started out CD and Kenneth Walker in my last draft. And then you went Lad McConkey, Luther Burden, Bayshell Tootin, Quentin Johnson. I said Quentin Johnson, I don't think should be that early a pick, but you did it to stack with Herbert. And then you got the Dak stacked with CD. This is a team I like a lot, actually. Like this construction. You got 2 running backs in the first 5 rounds, 4 wide receivers. Oh, you stacked McConkey too. That's a double stack. Yeah, there's some upside there, right? Yeah, there's plenty of high upside here. Jonathan Brooks, you took my guy. Man, that is a nice looking team. Kenneth Gainwell. I don't think you needed to, like, I probably would have gone wide receiver there. I like Jacoby Myers a lot, but he has the same bye week as your double stack, so you couldn't have gotten him. Maybe Golden or Wandell. But like Gainwell's not a bad pick. I just don't think he's necessary. You already have 3 running backs. You could have pushed running back to much later, and then you end up with 6. Not crazy about the 6 running backs in this build, but you did have an extra. Like I might have gone 8 receivers. Did you go 2 or 3 tight? You went 3 tight ends. All right. So after Gainwell, Kincaid, I like a lot. He's moving up draft boards. And I think Kincaid, you're going to see closer to the Fan and Pitts. Definitely right next to Kittle. Kittle went a little early in this one. Kittle should not be going this early. I guess in this format, it's fine. But Kittle should be going right next to like Andrews, probably. Kelsey should be going right next to Andrews too. Likely should be going later. Anyway, I do like the Kincaid pick. I love the Rashid Shaheed pick. Actually, that's it too. That's why you can go 6 running backs. Your receivers are crushing it. Flournoy stacks with Dak. You go Jonah Coleman there. Jonah Coleman, isn't he just he fits in a spot where you're just like, what else do I do? Like, I might as well. Like he's in that spot where if Travis Hunter is gone, actually, even if Travis Hunter was available, that week 7 bye, you wouldn't have wanted with your Charger stack. So yeah, Coleman just ends up fitting in the right spot. I have 24% of Coleman, and I'm not really above the field on him. Then we see Dalton Schultz, very consistent tight end. I talked about in a previous draft. Pat Fryermuth. I said I had a lot of pre-draft, and even in May and June, I was starting to back off of him because I had so much of him. And then news about Denzel Washington came out that he lost weight and he's going to be used more as a move tight end. But I'm not. I should have checked my source on that report because I'm getting other reports that aren't mentioning anything about weight loss. And the first one was that he lost 50 pounds. So I thought that would be broadcast news. It doesn't seem to be. So I got to do a little bit more research there. Pat Bryant, I think, is an awesome pick there. And George Halani, I actually need to move up a little bit so I start getting a little bit of him. Actually, I think he's more of an eliminator pick where you're concentrating more at the beginning of the season. I think by week 11, Chardonnay is back and probably healthy by their bye week. And after their bye week, Chardonnay is probably going to lock out most other guys. Put it this way, with drafting Gainwell, there was no need for a 6th, but I do see why you just like kind of grabbed your guy in the last round because you didn't need wide receiver either. I would give this team something between an A and an A minus if I'm going to grade it. Let's see. What did you say? I don't like leaving my drafts without T. Ferg and Vidal. I think there's a path for them too. Yeah, I like that. I like T. Ferg. I need to like the Vidal and the Halani are two guys that I don't have a lot of. And I need to start to back off this Jaden Blue a little bit. Ray Davis is a guy, and Emmett Johnson is a guy that I need to scoop up a little bit more. Marshawn Lloyd. I need a reason not to draft Marshawn Lloyd. And Vidal and Halani are probably good ideas. Good man. Reach for these stacks. I think running backs this year will change a lot. Yeah, I think we talk about trades a lot more than they happen. They've been happening a lot more lately. So I'm not saying to worry about ADP. I'm just saying that why pay more for something when you can pay less and maybe sneak some other talent in there. So like it also depends on what's available, right? So like if you hold off on Burrow, maybe I probably Jameson Williams. Yeah. With your team, maybe a running back, I guess. I see what you're saying. I just like when doing it once or twice, fine. But consistently doing that throughout the whole draft, I think you're giving up a little bit. So you also have to watch out. A lot of those high stakes drafts are redraft. Best ball is a completely different animal. If they're best ball, that's fine. What high stakes drafts are you looking at though? If you're talking about like the main event, totally different ADP, totally different makeup all around. Sure. Yeah, and that's so FFPC main event. Yeah, you're going to see all of these running backs get pushed way up. And there's some that are like like Katron Allen goes like Katron Allen, Nick Singleton didn't get drafted here. In a main event, they'll go in the 15th, 16th round. Jordan James is another one that ends up going early. So you just like if you're talking about high stakes redraft, totally different animal, completely different. In those high stakes drafts, most of the teams are only drafting one quarterback. So the quarterback ADPs, you'll be able to grab like a Mahomes or even a Hurst in the ninth or actually Mahomes goes in like the 12th or 13th round of some of those high stakes redrafts. You also have to pay attention to how many rounds each draft has, whether and ADPs fluctuate based on different platforms. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a slave to ADP. I'm just frugal and really like getting values. And it's historically proven that the most important things you can do in a draft is get ADP values, whether they're immediate or closing line. Statistically, that is by far your biggest advantage in any best ball. You could say that, but there's a reason why the same people tend to consistently be at the top, and it's not just because they're playing, they're not maxing every tournament either. It's it's a proven fact. Like literally, you could go by ADP within a proper team structure. Like you don't want to, totally ruin your team structure just drafting by ADP. But because now ADP is accurate. So when I first started, actually when I first started best ball 10, 11 years ago, I think 2015 was the first year I did best ball. Kind of did it by accident. I've been doing fantasy for 30 years. So when I first started doing best ball, the ADPs in the draft room were not reflective of actual ADP. They were counting ADP from back in May. The way Underdog and DraftKings do it now, they're only taking ADP from the last week, and it is immediately updated. So you're getting the proper exact current ADP. That never used to be the case prior to about 4 years ago. You actually used to have to search it out. There was on when Twitter was actually Twitter, Josh ADHD used to publish accurate ADPs because he could do the coding to get the downloadable information. But so the number of entries. So yeah, if you're doing 10, 20 entries, yeah, just go ahead and get your guys. Go ahead, have fun with it. Get your guys. If you're doing like, I'm not even considered high volume. I'll probably end up with between 500 and 600 total drafts, best ball drafts. But the high volume guys are actually doing over 1,000. So, but even when you're doing, I would say if you're doing 100, going by ADP is going to guide you. So you go by ADP, but if you want to reach a couple of times for your guys or for stacks, that's fine. You just don't want to do it with like kind of all of your picks. That would just be my advice. Take it or leave it. Don't care. I really appreciate all of you watching, listening, participating. Please turn your notifications on. I won't be streaming for the next few days. I will be in New York taking care of my parents both have dementia and their aides need this weekend or the next few days off. So I'll be up in New York, won't be able to do this, but I'll be back on Thursday with a stream. I'm not sure what time. Please subscribe, turn on those notifications, and I'll give you the heads up. 2 years ago, Halani was preseason, was punishing on second team. Yeah, no, Halani's good, and they like him. But he's very much in that Charbonnet role, and they love Charbonnet. So I think Halani's a better beginning of the season bet than he is end of the season bet. And we always, in these best ball tournaments, we always have to keep in mind that all of the money, all of the real money is in week 17. You have to get there, but you want to win when you are there. So pod luck is going to have to take you through to some point. You got to have 2 out of 12 to start. What's it? 2 out of 12, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10. And then you got to beat 375 people in the final. So if you make the final and don't do well, like, so 375. So if you make the final, you'll make 750. Doesn't sound bad, but we're looking for 200 grand. That's a huge drop off, right? And if you don't make it to week 17, sure, you got to make it there, but the difference between put it this way, if you make it to if you win your league, you get your $5 back. If you make it to the next round, you're looking at what's it, $20 total. So if you make it to week 16, you get $100, but like all of the money you're setting up for week 17. That's just how I play it. That's how I recommend play it. I believe in Halani. I just believe in Charbonnet a little bit more. That's all. All right. Check out wheelrouteff.com. I will be back Thursday. Appreciate y'all. You have a great week, and I'll check you.